How's it going? I'm Wayne Donaldson, and this is the Wrong Kind of Music Podcast. Roll the intro. No, I'm only joking. I'm not Wayne. That's Wayne. Photographer, videographer extraordinaire. And this is, as you probably know, Freddy from Nomadus.
Cheers.
Which, I mean, at this point is probably your full name. Middle name from surname Nomadus.
Or that guy from Nomadus.
Yeah.
My candy.
But yeah, if you have slept on Nomadus, you don't get any sympathy from me, to be fair. One of the best live bands going. But yeah, essentially, we're doing something a bit different today. I'm hosting, and we're doing a kind of a special episode. Oh, by the way, I'm Art. I love gigs. And speaking of gigs, there's a certain gig happening next week. This small band coming to Dublin. They're called Iron Maiden. Not sure if you've heard of them. You haven't heard of them, though?
No.
I've heard of them.
Yeah?
There's like hipster underground British metal.
Yeah. But they're coming to Dublin next week, which, I mean, you know, they come every other year. It's not that big a deal. Except they're doing something pretty special on this tour. So we just thought we'd get together and put an episode together just to kind of celebrate the fact that they're doing something quite unique for their career, for their history. So, yeah, this is kind of like an Iron Maiden special. And I hope you enjoy, you know. So, essentially, the gist of this tour, it's called the Future Past Tour because they have a song on Sinjitzu called Days of Future Past. But they realized that, you know, they're getting kind of I don't want to say the end, obviously, I never want that to happen, but they're aware that they're getting on in their years, and a certain album of theirs hasn't been getting as much love on, you know, tours and things like that. And there's a certain song that has never gotten any love on a tour, so they decided to do something about it. And I think when they announced it, pretty much Maiden fans worldwide just went boogaloo with excitement. So we're going to do an episode just kind of talking about Maiden, talking about this tour concept and things. I think all three of us are pretty big Maiden fans.
Yeah.
Most of my life I've been I've always said there's been like three bands that I have loved since I discovered music, and one of them's been Iron Maiden, the other two being The Prodigy and Cypress Hill, you know, but Iron Maiden have always been up there. As much as I've dipped in and out of metal my whole life, I've never stopped listening to Maiden.
Maiden's just been like a constant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same with me. Like, you know, I started listening to metal, and then, well, AC/DC was my first band, and then Maiden right up there too, you know. So, yeah, since the beginning, I still love them as I love them when I started, you know.
And I think there's few bands that you get that. You know, it's almost like universal for metal fans. A lot of people, like, this is my own kind of, it's like first kind of journey into like heavier stuff, darker stuff, whatever you want to call it, was like a bit of Linkin Park, and then Metallica just snatched me. And they were my favourite band for most of my life. Then I discovered Maiden, and it was always like my second favourite band ever. And...
Apologies, ignore that.
No, it's fine. So... over the years, it was like, you know, so much love, so much respect for Metallica. But I think in the back of my head, there was just this kind of notion that, like, Maiden are a better band. And obviously it's subjective anyway, but at this point in time, I can't happily say that Maiden are my favourite band of all time. So I'm obviously excited to see them again, you know.
How many times have you seen them?
2010, Dublin. 2011, I think, on the Final Frontier tour. Then 16 or 17 in Dublin again for the Book of Souls tour. Odyssey 2018 for the Legacy of the Beast tour. Last year Belsonic, and then this year, next week, for this tour. So I think that's 6.
Yeah. Fuck.
I almost don't want to ask you to, because it's probably a lot more than I have. No?
14 for me. I've seen them 14 times.
Okay, episode's over. I'm just gonna go cry now.
I thought this was gonna be like, you know, like 7 or something.
I can't remember. I haven't made a list of them all because I did do this recently. I sat down and I was like, how many times have I seen Maiden? And I clocked them up. Now loads of them have been festival appearances.
Yeah.
But the thing with a lot of other bands you see at a festival, it's kind of like, does it really count because they played a half-hour set or whatever? Anytime I've seen Maiden at a festival, they've got their full headline show.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a Maiden show.
Yeah.
So there's never been any of those sort of seen them, sort of didn't. And funny enough, I was just thinking about this the other day. like there's loads of other bands. Metallica would be the perfect example, where it's like, how many times have I seen Metallica? Because it's not the same amount of times as how many times have I been to a Metallica show.
Yeah.
Because it was twice I seen Metallica. I was there, right? But I was so absolutely smashed, right, that I don't even count it. Like there was a time I seen Metallica, and the only song I remember was "Sad but True," and it was just like, well, that was a fucking waste of an entire dance.
That was
The
sad
thing
but
is,
true.
I have never drank too much at a Maiden show. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Maiden. I can't get fucked up. I have to, keep my head right for this show. But yeah, 14 times. The first time I think was 2005 or thereabouts, and it was Iron Maiden and Marilyn Manson down in Dublin.
It's an interesting lineup.
And at the time, like I had no metal mates. Wasn't in the local metal scene, so I didn't know anyone through music. And I had only one mate who was like, he was into metal, but he didn't really like going to shows, to be honest, which I always find fucking bizarre. Like, you know what we're like,
Yeah.
If you're into a band, you want to fucking see them. He was never that much into like going out to shows, but I said to him about like, what about going to see Iron Maiden? We've both been listening to them for most of our lives now, and we've never actually seen them live. I said, what do I head down? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, fuck, really? And he was like, yeah. So we went down, and it was just amazing, like seeing them for the first time. Absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, his condition on us going was that we got seated tickets, and I was kind of like,
that's a bit touchy.
that kind of sucks. But I thought it's that or not go.
Yeah.
In my head. So we went down and we got our seats and stuff, and we watched. I can't remember who the support band was. Probably Sweet Savage or something like that. And I was sitting looking. I can't remember the name of the venue. It was outdoors, and it was just a big field with like raised seats at the back, like a big stand where you would maybe have horse racing or something like that.
Oh, it's not Punchestown, is it?
No, it's not.
Is that further down or something?
It was in Dublin.
Oh, right.
So we went there, and I was kind of looking down, and we were walking down to the bar and coming back up, and I was looking into the standing area and going, there's nothing stopping anyone going that way. And I said to him, like, if I head into the standing area, do you mind? And he's like, I don't mind. If I stay seated, do you mind? And I was like, I don't mind. So he kept his seat, and I fucked off into the standing area.
And was nothing stopping you?
No. I actually stopped one of the security guards, says, look, is it cool if we head in here? And he was like, go for it, man.
I did that at
Obviously,
Whitesnake last year.
Yeah.
So he told us, people with standing tickets can't get into seats, but people with seated tickets can get into standing.
Yeah.
It was like fucking awesome.
It was like, it was the same one in the Odyssey, in 2018.
Yeah, so
I saw people, because the seats were so low, you could just like jump over,
hop over.
and no one said anything.
For that show in particular, just for a second, so I'd seen them that many times, and obviously, when you're standing, you're in the crowd, moshing, headbanging, whatever, or just being slightly smaller than other people, like you're not always seeing the stage and the. So I was like, you know what? They're doing this whole Legacy of the Beast thing. They're having this massive stage show with the fighter playing, and I'll specifically get seating tickets to watch the whole, and it was a good choice. It was phenomenal, but I don't think I'd do it again because I need that like interaction at gigs. I need that movement and things.
But that first show, I think it was the Golden Years tour.
Because it was just before Matter of Life and Death.
And then I've seen them again in Newcastle over in England for the Matter of Life and Death tour. Then I've seen them in Belfast 3 times, I want to say. I think twice in the arena. Once at Belsonic.
Last year, yeah.
And then I've seen them at festivals. I've seen them at Hellfest, Download, Sonosphere, and
14 times,
can't remember where else. Definitely seen them a few other places. Seen them in London as well.
Yeah.
Dublin at least twice,
Nice.
This hurts to listen to.
But the thing is, it's one of those things where when you've seen a band so many times, you get to the point where it's coming up to the gig, it's not exciting anymore. It's like, another Maiden show. I've been fucking loads. I know it's not the same for everyone. Some people could go see a band 100 times and still get excited. But for me, coming up to it, I'm never getting that excited. And then I get there and I experience it and I come away going, that was every time I come away going, that was one of the best Maiden shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, every time.
Except for Belsonic.
I was going to say that. So my hype levels for Belsonic last year were through the roof. Some things happened beforehand that were a little bit stressful. Then when I had to miss all the support bands and things. Then Airborne I heard were really good, but they're coming back anyway, so that's fine. But
Not the same.
you know, there was a bit of stress, there was a bit of that and this, but when we did get there, so my first time seeing them outdoors as well, I think they're just an indoor band. Like
Yes,
I think that just
100%.
suits them so much better. But the other thing was, I think we mentioned this before in a previous podcast, but it was just a sea of statues. Like that's what the crowd was, and I'm saying I need this movement, I need this energy, and just sort of being trapped amongst that. So they were grand. You know, their performance was phenomenal. Some songs like The Klansman and, you know, amazing. But it's the first time where I had mixed emotions with the Maiden gig, because they were fine. It was just other kind of aspects that
I thought
were
it was
underwhelming.
nowhere near loud enough. Nowhere near.
That-
And I appreciate that there's restrictions in place because it's a
Residential area.
residential area and stuff and they can't blast it. But anytime I'm at a Maiden show, like every single time, I sing my lungs out. Like that's to me that's the
That's
big
what
appeal.
you do.
It's those
Yeah.
big sing-alongs that I
Have to be
love.
louder than the band, like,
No,
you know.
that's
But-
a good point, because
but
when I was singing, I could hear myself more
Well,
than
that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So at Belsonic, I started singing, and it's like, oh no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it just put a real dampener on it. You know the way some people go, oh, I went to a crowd or I went to a gig and the crowd around me were just a wee bit, you know, they weren't in that into it. And my immediate thought is always, well, move to somewhere where people are moving about and enjoying a bit.
Yeah.
I tried so
Same,
many times
same.
at that gig.
I got stuck in the crowd trying to get through and stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so that I think had a little bit of a knock-off effect this year, because my excitement levels just weren't there. And I think part of that was subconscious in terms of don't get too excited.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're recording this, it's Thursday, so it's 9 days from now. I listened to the set list last night as a playlist, and see, as soon as that first song hit, I practically jumped out of my bed. You know, it was, so I'm starting to get excited, I'm starting to kind of feel it, and obviously I can't wait. But, how many times have you seen them?
Three or four.
Okay.
And so Portugal was my first time.
Yeah.
10 years ago. It was when they were touring the reincarnation of Maiden England '88. You know, like they played the Seventh Son stuff.
I was going to say the t-shirt.
Yeah, it's like say Seventh Son, Somewhere in Time is my favourite. So yeah, that was amazing. That was my first time as well seeing them. It was just like, it was crazy.
I could be wrong, but obviously you've been living in Belfast or whatever for how long?
8 years.
So I'm sure it was just nice to see them in your home country as well, you know. I could be wrong, obviously, but...
Oh, it was just nice to see them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
True,
like
true,
I was
true,
waiting
yeah.
that for so long, you know, and yeah. So that was my first time, and then Odyssey when they came here, and then last year. So yeah, 3 times, and that's gonna be 4th time.
I'm surprised.
Not as many.
No, yeah, I thought that you would have been more than me, you know,
No,
as well. And
no.
obviously Mr. 14 here.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
But yeah, so the gist of this tour, the Future Past tour. So they brought out Sinjitzu, and I know Sinjitzu had mixed reactions. There's a lot of people that didn't like it.
Yeah.
I understand why some people didn't like it, and I can sort of appreciate those faults that it has.
Okay.
They're a band for repeating themselves in certain songs. You know, they've always done it, but Sinjitzu, I think, took the piss a little bit here and there. In saying that, I still fucking love it. Like, I absolutely adore it. So I'm glad that they finished their legacy of the Beast Cycle, and now they're giving Sinjitsu its due, but Somewhere in Time.
I know. That was such a great idea. Like they had that. I think they probably had that planned even by the time the album came out. You know, like.
I'll be honest. See, if this was a Sinjitzu tour, I wouldn't be going.
I understand.
I'd be sitting in the next room playing Xbox next Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, whenever they said that they were combining Sinjitzu tour with a celebration of Somewhere in Time, I just kind of like that tore me in two, because it's kind of like I think Sinjitsu's trunks. Like
Fair.
they're not like it at all. I don't think I've actually made it to the end of the album even once.
Right.
I just find it fucking boring. Like
See-
people have dissected it and says, I think this is wrong with it and that's wrong with it and nah. I don't think there's much to dissect. I just find it boring, and it sounds like a band that are just at the end of their whatever artistic merit they had is just kind of drained from them, and it just feels like we gotta put another album out. We're a bit fucking tired, but yeah, let's write 10 songs and let's be really fucking self-indulgent and write like loads of really long ones that don't need to be long, and like fuck me, I love Iron Maiden because of Aces High, you know, stuff like that, and Power Slave, and the, you know, the, what is it called, like the, oh fuck me, I'm losing the words. The gallop. They've got that
gallop and the fast.
They've got the
the
gallop
fast.
and the rhythm. You know, to me, that's fucking Iron Maiden, and I appreciate that bands can't continue to be the same band for 40, 50 years.
Yeah, just natural evolution and progression and stuff.
But to me, they have just lost. I'm not talking about the band entirely with their live performances, but with what they're writing, they have lost 90% of what makes them Iron Maiden, and I've just no interest in it at all.
Right, so I mean, obviously I disagree,
Sure.
but I do get where you're coming from, and I can kind of see that point of view. But just as an example of how I'm the polar opposite, so you said you don't even know if you've got through it start to finish even once. See, when it came out, I think I was twice in the same day.
Yeah.
And then once every day for the full week after. So that was like an hour a day or something I was setting aside.
I think
like
it was
some
more
of
or
it was
less the
like
same.
in the gym or whatever, so I was just kind of doing stuff anyway. But like, it was like my one a day of Iron Maiden Sinjitzu. I still listen to it now. I
think it's definitely a grower. You know, like when you listen to the album first time, and then you might say, "Oh, but not all the albums are like that." Like sometimes you just need to get it straight away, or you don't.
Well, I'll be honest now. With Book of Souls, I listened to Book of Souls about 4 or 5 times when it first came out. I was just kind of like, I didn't dislike it in anywhere near as much as I dislike Sinjitzu, but I just didn't think it was great. I thought it was, it's an okay album. It's an okay album. See, once I heard the songs that they were playing live, then the whole album kind of clicked.
Yeah.
After going to the Book of Souls tour, I went back home, put on the Book of Souls album, and was like, I like this.
Like it just had a new meaning
it's
almost.
landed. It's fallen into place.
Well, here, maybe that can happen with this.
It could do.
It's a possibility, you know, maybe
I
not.
think, because they know how to choose the songs live, like, you know, and it's always the thing with Maiden, like, it's just sometimes it doesn't do it justice on record at times, like,
Sure.
you know, and then you see it live, and it's just this big, awesome sound, and it makes sense, you know, like the maybe the songs that you think it doesn't hit well, but then live it really does.
Yeah,
I think so.
I have a really potent example of that actually, and it's funny that you mentioned Belsonic being quiet, because at the time that's not what I was even thinking about, so I'm only realising that now how quiet that was, so obviously sound and everything. But see, the song Wasted Years, I never used to like it. Like I thought, you know, exactly right. I thought the lyrics were really cheesy.
Yeah.
And that the music was too kind of like, you know, because obviously Somewhere in Time they have that bit of synth, that kind of not pop, but almost like a pop upbeat atmosphere to some songs, and it's one of them.
Okay, yeah.
So I would sometimes skip it.
Right.
Then I think it was the Book of Souls tour in Dublin. They ended the set with it, and you know that the lyrics are all about try not to have regrets, live life now while you can, like, and it just hit. I just got it. And not only did I appreciate the song and start listening to it after, but I just kind of got what it was all about kind of thing. And now it's one of my favourite songs, but I used to skip it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's funny, there's a wee bit of a generational gap there, because whenever I was listening to all these albums initially, it was cassette, so there was no skipping.
No skipping.
You didn't like a
yeah.
song, you either had to sit and fast forward and just try and get it just right, or you just suffered through it.
Yeah. Though Wasted Years was probably one of my favourites on the album, like more than anything, and it's the one that I learned on guitar as well first.
yeah.
So it was like
What do you call your fella that does that YouTube channel we were talking about?
Licks of the Beast.
Yeah, have you checked it out?
I think I know the guy you're talking about, like really breaks it down and dissects.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then he
awesome.
has his wee episodes where he just talks about it and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
really good. If anyone here watching hasn't checked it
Licks
out,
of
and
the
is a
Beast.
fan, Licks of the Beast, definitely worth checking out. But I think we should just sort of get into it. So, for anyone watching that is a fan, is going to see them, but has managed to stay away from the set list up to now, and like, hats off to you if you has, because you're a stronger person than I am, let's just say.
And they put it all out, like they've been sharing.
Oh yeah, you know, but I know friends of mine that I was playing like Rocket League with them the other day, and they said like, don't tell me the set list, because we unfollowed them specifically to stay away from it and stuff. So for anyone in that boat, this is a massive spoiler warning for the set list, and you know, so just skip ahead or whatever it is you need to do, because we're gonna get into it. And even like just reading it out, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, as I said, this is Thursday recording. 9 days from now,
Yep.
we're going to travel down to Dublin. couple of drinks. Was it Lord of the Lost, or what do you call the opening band?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that band that went to Eurovision?
Yeah, they played
They went to
Germany's.
Eurovision, right?
I wasn't gonna say it, but
No, I just heard that the other day.
They played Eurovision, right? And out of 26 bands, they came 26th,
Yeah.
right? So you know what they done? This is cheeky as fuck. Straight after it, they released a cover of the band who came second. There was it Finland that done Cha 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 in the Eurovision?
I don't know. I didn't.
did they?
They came out and done a cover of one of the other songs that done really well.
But they came second and not even first.
They came last,
I know, but they covered the band.
but they
that came
covered the
second.
band that came second. Yeah,
Right.
Did they do it as a kind of like, oh, we can do this better than you, or like what was the?
I have no idea.
That's odd.
I haven't looked into it. I just earlier today I told Apple Music to play some Lord of the Lost, Lord of the Lost,
Lord of the Lost, I think.
Lord of the
Yeah.
Lost.
Yeah.
And that song came on, and I'm sitting going, that's that song that came second in Eurovision. Why is it playing that when I asked them to play?
And then you
this
checked
band?
it was a
And
cover.
then I checked, and it's like, yeah, they fucking covered it.
Right.
That's a bit odd.
That is brass necked as fuck, like.
But
Yeah.
right, so I haven't
Yeah.
listened to Lord of the Lost
I
yet.
haven't listened to it at all.
So if you want to call them Eurovision failures or whatever, you know. No, but this is the thing, right? Anyone that's been to see Maiden more than once knows that they have a habit of picking really naff opening bands.
Was
Like
it
the-
was the Raven Age or something?
I-
Raven Age.
Well, my worst example was Shinedown, and I think
Oh,
they might have
Shinedown.
picked them twice. I'm not sure.
I've seen Shinedown something like 3 times.
Against your will.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I call them Shinedown. It's a really bad kind
that
of moniker,
band
but
needs to fuck all
see
the way off.
the Book of Souls tour in Dublin, so 2017, whatever it was.
Belsonic as well.
Is that? Or they were playing Airborne. Those
Was
guys.
Airborne,
oh,
those guys. Yeah.
Oh well, I didn't see them because I missed them. But see, in the Dublin show, I swear this is no word of a lie. They finished their set, and the only reason I was in the vicinity is because I was going through the crowd to get to the rail, the headbang and stuff. The drummer came out, walked to the front of the stage, threw his drumstick into the crowd. See the person that caught it, threw it right back at him.
Jesus.
I think that summarizes, you know. But so you know, we get there, a couple of beers. Lord of the Lost have finished. The excitement's building.
Yeah.
Doctor plays, and like we all know that's
me
the
switch
moment.
off. Like,
Yeah, like that's the moment.
That's
It's
me, there's
happening. It's starting.
It does my nothing.
What?
The whole UFO Doctor.
It's a great song. I love it.
yeah.
It
They
runs-
actually covered that in the
It's-
one B side. Yeah.
It goes for far too long as a sort of a hype song, I think.
Oh no!
It's just there.
I could
it's
listen
really-
to it. I could listen to it twice before Maiden came on.
I just need it
'Cause
to end
I-
whenever it's on.
It's
Why
like,
is
you know,
it-
like Metallica plays
Ecstasy of
It's a
Gold
Long
and
Way
AC,
to the
yeah.
top. You know, for me, like bands just play like a song from their inspiration
no,
or
'cause that's the
something.
thing, like,
There's a band I used to go and see quite regularly called RSJ, and they would, I can't remember what it was like an 80s pop song that they would use, but they just use the first 60 seconds of it,
yeah.
because it's just outright, ladies and gentlemen, get yourselves ready because we're about to come on stage, you know. That Doctor thing, it's like, here we go, and
Just their thing, I reckon.
7 minutes later, you're still standing there going,
no, this is the thing. Because you said you go to a Maiden show, you sing along, and I do that to Doctor, you know. Machine Head have Diary of the Madman playing before they come on. Metallica do the Long Way to the Top, and then Ecstasy of Gold, which is like twofold. For me, Doctor and Maiden is both. It's a song, the last song they play on the PA, but it's also the hype song. Do you know? So everyone knows when that hits, it's starting. But this time, after that, we're getting a song from the Blade Runner soundtrack.
Yeah, because
Because we're going right in.
which
Yeah.
one?
I think it's the end titles. Which-
There's
see,
a song,
there's
there's a
no-
song from Blade Runner that I absolutely adore.
Tears and Rain,
No, it's not that. It's I can't
love song,
remember
or
what
It's basically synth, isn't it?
oh yeah,
Synth to get to the Caught Somewhere in Time thing. Yeah.
because that's the thing, right? Because I listened to it the other day. If you think Doctor goes on,
Oh, you're kidding me? Serious?
but again, I'm hoping that it is just going to create an atmosphere because you know the first song that they're opening the set list with.
Nope, I don't remember.
Somewhere in fucking Time.
Caught
Like
Somewhere
they're
in
just oh yeah, because the album's Somewhere in Time, the song Caught Somewhere in Time.
Yeah, I know.
But just right into it, and like minds are just gonna explode, like mine included.
Yeah.
And because we were talking about Belsonic, they open with Sinjitzu, and it's anticlimactic, to put it one way. You know, it's just this kind of like the energy levels about here when
They've
they're
done three, the first three songs.
First three
weren't
songs.
they?
yeah, so Sinjitsu, Strategio, Writing on the Wall. I think that's the order, maybe. You know,
It almost felt like they were self-aware. Like they knew people didn't want to hear those songs, so it was let's play them at the start and get them out of the way. That's how it came across to me.
It was still the legacy of the beast, but
Yeah,
the
but they were
album
just
was released,
inserting them in.
so they and it was the singles.
See, to be
So
fair though,
yeah.
right? So when Sinjitzu came out, me and my friend got together, had a nice day, a couple of drinks and stuff, put it on. And before it came on, she said for some reason, I think it's going to start with drums. I was like, oh, that'd be weird, I don't think so. But it does that kind of like, boom, 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 you know.
Yeah.
So when we were listening to it, I was kind of like, I wasn't expecting this. Because normally they do like Aces High or big songs that just start, go. I was kind of like, if they play this song like mid-set or something, it's just going to bring the whole dynamic down, so they can only open with this song, and that's what they did. But they did just kind of like put it at the start and then move on to all the other stuff. But Caught Somewhere in Time, it's not Aces High, it's not doof, go.
But it is a fast song.
Yeah, no, but it has that synth.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then when it goes hard, it goes fast.
Yeah. And it's the same tempo all the way through.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
like, it's gonna be special, but
Yeah. And then,
yeah.
second song.
Yep. Stranger in a Strange Land. And I don't know, obviously like everyone's relationship with that album is different, but I think for Maiden fans as a whole,
By the way,
it's
sorry. Is that your favorite album, Somewhere in Time?
Oh, you ask me any day of the week what my favourite
And it
Maiden
changes?
album is, and I'll be
Okay,
something
okay.
else, you know.
Okay.
but I think
But it's the 80s, yeah.
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 Everyone agrees that Somewhere in Time and Seven Sun and Seven Sun are kind of like twin albums, and they're kind of special because they have that synthy aspect. The songwriting's just kind of, you know, very kind of self-contained just for those two albums. Like it was Power Slave beforehand, and whatever came after.
No Prayer was the next one,
I was
wasn't
Fear the Dark, then No Prayer, something like that.
No Prayer.
it? Yeah.
Was it? And then?
No Prayer after Seven Son.
That's quite a dip.
But
No
this,
offense to anyone that likes...
fucks me off.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I know that
No
I've just
Prayer
went
is
a big
great,
rant on Sinjitzu, but I do not get this hate for
No
No
Prayer.
Prayer for the Dying.
I think it's
I
great.
don't get it.
I don't think it's bad.
Fucking fantastic.
I don't think it's bad, but never would I put it up there with like even my top 10 Maiden albums.
But look, imagine right, a band that does how many years in a row they put out albums, yeah.
Yeah.
They used to put out an album every year, basically.
Yeah,
An album every
except
year.
it was 1984, and then 86 was Somewhere in Time, 88, and then 1990. But they put stellar albums like year after year, and then you have to reach a wall sometime. You
I
know,
didn't say it was bad.
It wasn't
like,
even-
I
yeah.
love... I've heard a load of people shitting on Mother Russia, like the last song on that album. I really like that
really
song.
like it.
I'm fine with
really-
that as well.
yeah.
I have no beef with Mother Russia as well.
Like, again...
The only one maybe I would say would be the Bring Your Daughter.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
That's
But
the only one.
is that because you've heard it so many times because it was the big single?
it's
It
like
was-
More than lyrics there or anything.
I was never a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
See,
Just cheesy, isn't it? Like in
it
general.
is. But I like it, but I don't know if I'm the only one in this. That it reminds me of Can I Play with Madness? I don't know if it's like the bass line or just the tempo or something.
I think so. I
But-
think there might be a cop out too there.
Yeah, but it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it just like anytime I hear it, it's just like I could be listening to Can I Play with Madness right now. And I guess that's the way I feel with a lot of that album. So again, it's not bad. It's just I could be listening to any other of their albums, you know. But with Stranger in a Strange Land, like the lyrics, the tone, everything. But see that solo?
It's magical.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
Like there's just something ethereal about that solo. And I think by this point it's almost like my entire body just knows it because it comes on and I
Yeah.
just start whistling away and you know.
Just note by note.
Yeah. So just as an opener, those two songs, what do you think?
I think it's a great choice, yeah.
Perfect opener. Two big, massive sing-alongs.
Perfect.
Like that will
Yeah.
warm your lungs up. all
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
If you're not singing those, please don't be anywhere fucking near me at that gig.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No,
and
That's what it's all about
Perfectly.
for me.
speaking of singing, the next song's the first Sinjitzu song. It's a song that we've heard before because they played it at Belsonic, and it was the
Oh,
big
yeah.
single they released.
Yeah.
The Writing on the Wall.
That's the one song off that album that I can kind of tolerate.
Fair. But do you agree, at least on that album, it's the most sing-along-y
Yes.
kind of
and
chorus
that- yeah,
and
that's
stuff?
why.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why.
So, like, even people that don't quite like Sinjitzu, I think are going to lean into the atmosphere of the gig and just, like, sing along and get it going and stuff. So,
Yeah.
because I was thinking, you know, they played it last year. They released it as a single. So that's the reason they're including it again, because it's a single. They know people know it and things.
I
But
think it's great as well. Like,
no, I love it. But I was
Yeah.
kind of like, could we have done without it for something else? Because they did play it last year.
I'll take it.
No, same, because I was just like, when that chorus hits, it's just like, no, we're going to be singing
Yeah.
along, you know. So after that, we get to basically the song that the whole tour concept's named after, Days of Future Past.
I think it's great as well.
For me, it's the weakest song on Sinjitzu, and I think, honestly, I just don't think it's strong enough. I think
But
if you took it out, it might
you have
be
to-
better.
You have to think in a way of album flow, right? So it's all long songs, and this is 4-minute song. So this is a good one to be there, because it's
Right.
you know, it's just energetic.
I get that.
It's like the Trooper.
No, I get it
You know,
100%, and I know what you're saying, but I just think that they could have wrote a stronger song and still had it short and fast. That's just my opinion, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's always like that, right?
Yeah, true.
Always. But I think it's a good one to have on the set because of that level of energy. Just keep it going, you know.
I get that. I listened to it the other day.
Oh.
I don't think the song has as much energy as it thinks it does, or the band thinks it does, or whatever, because there's a part near the end where there's just like a bridge that just drops the dynamic and it's really quiet. Then they launch back into the chorus, and it really highlights just that the chorus isn't strong enough, I think, to kind of sustain.
Maybe
you know?
the transition. I get that. Yeah, it goes like.
Yeah, and then it's Days of Future, and it's just like. Anyway, you know, what do you think of it?
I'm gonna be honest, don't know.
Fair.
I do not know that song.
Fair. I was half expecting that.
Yeah,
And you know the one
it is
thing.
like that, yeah.
Do you know when they release, like, you know, you're a big fan of a band, new album's coming out, you're getting excited, so they release the track list and the names of the songs. So you know nothing about it. I saw that and was like, did one of them sit down and watch that X-Men movie? Is it called Days of Future Past or something like
It's
that?
something along those lines.
Do you know, and then write a song, but it turns out it's about Constantine, so I was halfway right in terms of it was about a movie, but just a
Right.
different movie, but
I think, but this is the thing. We don't know how it is yet live.
oh, true.
That's
True.
You know, it could work great live. You know.
I suppose the other factor is the loudness, the sound, the thing, like it
Yeah.
could, and maybe the crowd will sing along as well to the chorus, and
Yeah.
you know, so I could be.
Some people were saying
Proven.
that riff sounds like the Foo Fighters riff.
I
Everlong.
see.
Oh, did it? Yeah. Okay.
See, honestly, I genuinely believe, because whenever I go see Iron Maiden, in fact, whenever I go see almost any band, there always is a contingent of the crowd that are there for the big hits.
Yeah.
Right. So there naturally will be, probably depending on where you are in the crowd. If you're with the diehard fans right up the front, you may not notice it. If you're halfway back, I guarantee you will notice a dip in energy
Yeah.
after those first two
And
songs.
even just
Yeah.
kind of like silence, and then they'll sing along to the big song.
Yeah,
and
you
back
get that
again,
everywhere. Like every band, every
What?
big band. You know, like that.
Yeah, I think.
It's like if you go see the Foo Fighters, you know that there's maybe 70% of the crowd are there to hear Monkey Wrench and
Yeah.
Everlong.
Everlong, and I guess for me, now that we're talking about this, that's going to be my indicator of I need to move to the better section, or the
Squeeze up.
Exactly. But I think this next song is where things get interesting in terms of people that don't like Sinjitzu are going to have their patience tested, because we're getting into the kind of, like, it's not long, but it's a bit longer. It's a bit meandering.
Okay.
People are saying it's proggy, but it's not quite. It's just kind of longer, slightly more complicated, but it's the time machine.
Do you not find there's certain people who can literally look at a track listing and the length of songs
Is it a prog?
and then go, that's proggy?
Yeah.
Why is it proggy? Because it's 9 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's like, well, not really. You know, the whole idea of prog metal, progressive, is music that's doing something that's never been done before and pushing
I like
the genre
pushing that
forward and
envelope
stuff, you
and-
know.
Or time changes.
I mean, there's
you
been
know,
long
like,
songs since the fucking 70s
Well,
and stuff,
maybe-
you know. A song being long is no longer enough to go, yes, tick in the box.
Maybe that's the difference, though. Something can be progressive in that regard without being prog as a genre, do you know? Whereas someone that was with us at that dairy show said that if it was prog, it wouldn't be good prog. Do you know?
That's true.
Which I would admit, because it's not prog, it's just a bit longer, maybe a bit more intricate in parts or something, but it's not prog metal, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
But the time machine's interesting because it has like a long, slow build-up intro. Isn't that the one we thought was like the Talisman, the opening?
Yeah.
But like it builds up and it builds up and builds up, and it's kind of calm. Then it does kind of explode and do the kind of like harmony bits and stuff. Then that goes on for a bit. Like I'm gonna love it, but other people, I can imagine, probably go for a pint or something then, you know.
Yeah.
But
it is one of those that you need to know the album to really appreciate that song.
Yeah.
But then again, you might love it for the live aspect
True.
of it, and then
Sure,
and then it's
sure.
like, all right, I get it,
The
And-
one thing is, as you said about knowing the album, there's a song that I think is a similar length, similar style, similar whatever. I would have taken it in a heartbeat over this. Lost in a Lost World.
Mm.
I would have interchanged those two out, but again, the harmonies of the Time Machine, like I'm even thinking about it now, it's gonna be one of those kind of jumpy songs, where you're kind of, so like I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Do you know it?
Just
Is that the one he's? Yep, fair.
Don't know.
So after this is the first song not from Sinjitzu, not from Somewhere in Time, and it's a really interesting choice.
Right.
I'm Not a Number, I'm a Free Man.
I saw it
The
live.
Prisoner.
Prisoner? Yeah,
I saw
Prisoner's,
it live first time.
Prisoner's a belter.
You know,
It's a belter
is,
song.
but I was not expecting it whatsoever. Like, when I saw
Yes,
the set
yeah.
list, I saw that and was just like, huh? That's a head scratcher. Because
Yes, yeah.
I'm reasonably confident I've seen them play that
Yeah.
a number of times.
And you've seen it as well?
Pretty,
I've
pretty
seen it
sure,
first time I
pretty
seen
sure
it.
that was on the Golden Years tour.
Hmm.
And I think they've pulled it out a bunch of times as well.
See that too, right? 2005. Is that the one they have on YouTube? And they played just the first 3 albums.
No, that was the early years. So they'd done a
But that
tour.
was 2005 as well, wasn't it?
Maybe it was the early years that I went to then.
It was
I honestly
only the
can't
first
remember.
3 albums.
So this is
I'll check in a wee
sorry,
bit while we're chatting.
First
Yeah.
four
so
albums.
this is Bruce covering Paul Diano
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and then his first 2 albums.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I
on
kinda-
YouTube, man. You should.
Yeah, but YouTube's not the same as being there and watching it. Were you at it or
No, it was
No,
2005. But
There
it
was,
was.
they done an early years tour and they done a Golden Years tour.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people were waiting for something off the back of that.
Right.
Now I seen them on a tour where they hit Twickenham, and they done a tour that was basically they looked back to remember Live After Death.
Yeah.
No, sorry, it wasn't Live After Death. It was Parslave.
It was
where
back
they
somewhere in
had- I
time.
don't know if you remember it. Or wait.
It was
I think
the
Live
first-
After
Live
Death
After
was
Death
the
was actually
Parslave-
back at Parslave.
Word Slavery tour.
So they had the big Sphinx head,
Yeah.
the big Eddie Sphinx head.
So it was
and
Flight
that-
666.
and that opened up. So you had Eddie,
The Pharaoh,
the
yeah.
Mummy Eddie coming out and stuff.
Was it
they done that at
2008
Twickenham, and seeing that
or something?
live was just
Oh,
holy
you
fuck.
were at it?
At Twickenham. Yeah.
I need some tissues.
Got lost afterwards. Took me 2 hours.
Was that the tour they did the movie Flight 666?
Honestly, can't remember.
2008.
No, I think that was different. They did.
That was back somewhere in time.
Yeah.
Flight 666. That was when they first got their own plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a sweet documentary as well. Like, that was
I
really
think
good
it's one of
watch.
my most watched movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I went to the whole, the Odeon do those special screenings and stuff.
Yeah.
4 of my friends from school got tickets, and I went to buy tickets after, and it sold out.
Oh.
Whatever. Obviously, I was upset at the time. The guy that organised it, bought the tickets, everything else, had like family commitments or something, I couldn't go. So he was just like, do you want the ticket? Do you want to go? And I was like, fucking, of course, But I think it's a love-hate kind of thing, because I didn't see them on that tour,
Right.
and they played this, Rhyme of the Ancient
Yep.
Mariner. That was the whole big thing about that tour. That's why this t-shirt got
Yeah.
made, this
Yeah.
artwork
Yes, I
designed,
remember that being played at Twickenham.
Yeah.
Just what a song. It's like Alexander, like one of those.
Well, I mean, speaking of time machines, like, I'm working on one at the minute, so I can go back and hear that.
Yeah.
But, a time machine going to be interesting. Like, Prisoner's going to be phenomenal. Like, I love the song, but I just didn't expect it, because, again, 5 Somewhere in Time, 5 Sinjitzu, just 5 songs from their entire back catalogue. To throw the Prisoner in there, even just from Number of the Beast album, I wasn't expecting it, but I am looking forward to it.
Yeah.
After this, back to Sinjitzu, Death of the Celts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's basically a sequel to the Klansman, essentially.
Yeah.
You know,
Pretty much.
similar song structures, styles, everything. You
The
know,
bass.
but
Yeah.
it's. Do you remember that midsection harmony kind of thing?
Yeah.
The first time I heard it, I imagined like a medieval castle and people doing that whole dance, jolly good. Like, it's I think the strangest section of any Maiden song I've ever heard.
I think the thing with part of why we love them is because they put you in that mindset of that specific. It just takes you on a journey, kind of,
The best example of that is the entirety of the Dance of Death song. The
Fuck
title
off.
track.
That's what I was
Do you know
just
what I mean?
about to
Because
mention.
that is just
Dance of Death.
the music's there to lay the foundation of Bruce just telling you a bedtime story.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
like, I love that
I've
song.
images in my head that just line right up
Yeah.
with all that, and it's the
That's
same
one of
images
my
every
favourite.
time I
I
hear it.
mean, I have a quick story just because it cemented my relationship with that song. So the time I was hanging with some friends, I was just having a drink. They were doing some mushrooms. So there was different kind of vibes going on. And a good friend of mine was just sitting chilling. I put the song on, got excited and was telling him about how much I love it because of the storytelling and everything else. And he turned around to me and said, by the way, when you were talking about that, your face disappeared. So it was just your skull, but your beard stayed. So every time you were talking with your skull rattling, your beard was just getting up and down. And he said
what a trip.
No, I know, but he said that it was very wholesome instead of scary. So anytime I think of that song, I can't, not think about it. Yeah. But I think Death of the Celts, I don't think it's a bad song. I think it goes on a bit long. And I'm just really interested to see how that one section goes down with the crowd at the gig, essentially,
Yeah.
The next one's interesting because it's one of those songs, you hear it all the time. So back in the day, Crying in Skulls, you'll know the music video as soon as I mention it. Can I Play with Madness?
Right.
That guy and the...
School teacher and school kids and all? Yeah.
So it's one of those songs that in my head, it's like, I've heard it too many times. I could probably do without it, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at sort of set lists of gigs I've been to and all. I haven't heard it once live.
Serious?
In my head, I got this impression that, I've heard it too many times. I haven't even heard it once.
Did they not play it last year, no?
No, they played The Evil That Men Do at the Legacy of the Beast one. But I don't think they played that last year.
Can I Play with Madness is an absolute belter.
It's a stone cold classic.
Yeah.
And it's also got one of the best pieces of artwork they've ever put out.
Yeah,
the fist with the
spoon.
Yeah, the egg and stuff with the
that
top
one.
of the head cut off and stuff.
All those single arts are just phenomenal. The whole concept.
Which
one is that one with the heart?
The actual
soul trapped.
But this is my favorite artwork, like those singles and stuff of Maiden.
I know.
Seventh Son artworks.
People that have Maiden tattoos tends to be power slave with the Egyptian pharaoh or Seventh Son. Do you know? I've seen a couple of people at gigs or playing in bands.
For years that was going to be my tattoo, but the mummy when he's with the
Life After Death.
It's like Breaking the Chains, isn't it?
Yeah, Breaking the Chains. Yeah, that one. That was the one I wanted to.
I think I would have had a Maiden tattoo by now if I could decide which one I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get those guys, or girls or whatever, that have entire back pieces with all the different edits. I think it's overkill. Just personally, I wouldn't get something like that. I would just...
It needs to be your life.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to.
But
I mean...
When you dedicate... you really just have to live for that band, it's insane.
See, I actually, rather than an Iron Maiden tattoo, I wouldn't mind a Derek Riggs tattoo.
Oh.
Because I'm sure... I don't need to explain to you guys that all the artwork by Derek Riggs, he's got his wee signature just in
the bottom right.
And I whenever I was a kid and stuff listening to Iron Maiden, whenever I got a new album in my hands, wasn't new albums coming out, it was probably someone coming around with a record, go and borrow that's really good, listen to that. First thing you do is start looking for the Derek Riggs,
especially on vinyl as
signature
well.
and stuff,
where's Wally?
I was about to say that.
It's the same with the guy that does Motorhead, Joe Petagno.
Right.
He also signs, you can see that.
But as a kid, I didn't know that this was Derek Riggs' signature. I thought that was just
kind of part of the artwork, or some
something
symbol
that was hidden in there for you to go and find. Like fucking the heavy metal version of Where's Wally? So I'd have as soon as any time I got a new jotter in school or anything, the pens came out and the Derek Riggs logo was written all over it and stuff, and I can still draw it to this day, even though I haven't seen it in a long time.
That's actually impressive because I never met anybody that would be like, oh yeah, I know the Derek Riggs signature.
Without even knowing that that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that reminds me of one of the recent Metal Cell podcasts was dedicated to artwork and tattoos and stuff like that. So if anyone hasn't listened to that one, it was a good one. But yeah, so just while we're on the topic, have you seen much of the artwork for this tour?
Yeah, on the shirts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any of the stage stuff?
Yeah, because we were talking at the same time it was being announced, and we were like, "Fuck! Oh my god!" And it was they were putting on their stories the songs with the new artwork for it.
Yeah, I've seen all that.
Yeah.
I loved that. So remember when Metallica brought out Hardwired, because they have loads of money. They can go to different film directors around the world and be like, I want a short film for this, I want a music video, and they just launched all 10.
Yeah.
With this, it was like they were treating the songs as singles, and they got individual little artworks made for each one.
Yeah.
Some of them are really funky, like the Death of the Celts with the little graveyard with the mist and stuff. So like, it was just a really nice way to do it.
It's very like 3D almost.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Yeah.
But it was just like a nice little touch.
Yeah.
And so after, well, after Can I Play With Madness?
It's the big one.
It's kind of. It's the start of it. So Heaven Can Wait.
Oh yeah.
Which I haven't heard before, and you know that whole thing about the whoa.
The people on stage.
They get people on stage and they extend it out, so they just keep that going. So it's like the ultimate Maiden fan, whoa, sing along kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But that's basically acting as the intro.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I'm saying these words genuinely. But after that, they're playing Alexander the Great.
That's sick.
Like,
that's the one that everyone will be waiting for.
So I said it out loud. Is it actually happening? Or are you just going to turn around and tell me like, oh no, that was like fantasy land, you know?
It's definitely happening. I'm going to be a wee bit of a downer here.
Fair.
I mean, I think it's a good song. It's a good song. I think the hype around it is based on the fact that I've never played it before up until this tour.
Right. That's interesting that you say that. No, I was thinking about this the other day. They have something like 49 songs that they've never played live before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of them. And I had a look at them, and a lot of them, and again, like maybe there's some off No Prayer for the Dying or whatever that I'm not the biggest fan of. There's some that surprise me. Say, the Duelists from Powerslave. It's a phenomenal song.
Never played it.
They're obviously able to play it, you know, because they wrote it and all the rest, but they've never played it for some reason. Another one, a song I've always loved and didn't know they'd never played it before. Judas Be My Guide from Fear the Dark.
Great song.
Phenomenal song. For some reason, they've never played it live. So it got me thinking, like, why does Alexander the Great have this, well, it used to have this big mystique and this like legend status of a song that hasn't been played if there's another like 40 whatever of them. Do you know?
See, for me personally, like before I knew that song was never played live, I always loved that song, and then when I found out, it's like, why?
Strange that they never played it live. Yeah.
Even the whole album, there's not enough footage out there. Maybe on that year that they were touring, there's some, but you know the way they were recording.
Yeah, something happened on that live tour where they were recording, and something happened to the footage or something. So it's just one of those tours that happened. Bruce but there's not much footage of it.
Bruce had the vest with the heart pumping here and stuff, like the Eddie on the cover, and like you rarely see that footage live of them. Yeah.
Because again, it's a song that they'd never played live until now, but even the whole album, maybe that adds to the whole reason.
Very obscure kind of, you know, like
because it's
lost or something.
Like Alexander the Great, like just you know, obviously you've got the My Son, Ask for Thyself, another kind like that intro, then that atmosphere, and then you've got those like military drums building up, and then it just launches into it. But do you know when you're like a fan of a band of this level, you kind of just as a hobby almost go and read about their history or their whatever. Yeah. So when I was younger and I used to, you know, historians would praise the song for its historical accuracy and teaching, and I think that's just they're that kind of band that different people get different things out of them. Yeah. So I think the song just is fantastic. It has a great atmosphere, everything else, but I do get where you're coming from, like why this one song out of all these other ones that makes it so special. But at the same time, they're playing it live next week.
I think it's the epicness of it, you know, like
it's very epic.
It's the melodies, you know. It hits on the right spots.
Yeah.
I think. You know, there was always, and then that middle section, the solos, just they change the tempo, and then that scream. At the end of Bruce, you know, even though the lyric is just like he died of fever in Babylon, but it's just the way he delivers that. It's just
because it's his life story or whatever, so it's all his glories and exploits and everything, like flipping elephants across mountains, but then towards the end it talks about how his armies have just fed up. They've had enough. They kind of abandoned him almost, and then you know, so it is almost like a history lesson. So I get that aspect of it, but like. I'm still in disbelief that they're playing it and they have played it and
you know what, I don't think they could end their career without, not saying that this would be the end of the career, but they couldn't end their career without, because people have been asking for years, so they think they eventually they would deliver it.
Because, I mean, nowhere near the same level, but it's kind of similar to when Metallica did that tour by request. So it was some city or country or other, like, you know, the people voting were smart enough. Fred ends insanity. Fred ends insanity. Do it now. You know, and it kind of, it's like nowhere near the same level or like mystique or status as this.
Same, you know, recently they started playing Fixer.
Metallica,
you know, which they never played before, and even though it's off Reload,
it's a great song.
It's like that one that they never played live, you know, and people love it.
I mean, just on the topic, anyone that went to download, I am absolutely jealous because they played Orion.
Yeah.
And
they're doing this like no repeat.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's, you know, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
but so apparently Maiden are playing Alexander the Great next week.
Nice.
And
can't wait.
I'll believe it when I hear it. But so back to reality after that. And this next song is the number one song, I think, is the staple Iron Maiden song live.
Oh, Fear?
Yeah. Not The Trooper, not Hallowed Be Thy Name, nothing like Fear of the Dark, because I think I've listened to the studio version like 3 times in my life, because that is a song that was written to be played live.
One of the instruments on that song
is the crowd's vocals and the you know, that kind of.
See, that was my first Iron Maiden song I've ever heard. So before that's right, you know, people think, Run to the Hills, or The Trooper, you know, but it is Fear of the Dark, because it's I don't know why it is the crowd song.
It is. It's a song that I'm sick to death of, though.
Yeah.
I don't think I could get to that level.
I don't think I've seen Iron Maiden without them playing it. It's just.
I get that.
Because even the Legacy of the Beast tour, they didn't play Hallowed Be Thy Name for the first time in ages because there was some lawsuit or other, you know.
Which is a funny one, because I remember an interview with Nico McBrain, the drummer, obviously. Yeah. And he said that the tour that Iron Maiden do without playing Hallowed Be Thy Name will be the first tour that he's not going on. Like that's his
first time I saw
song.
them was they didn't play.
Well, it might.
He said he won't go on tour unless they're playing that. So somehow they've pulled it off the set list, you know.
I think they actually did play the Legacy of the Beast. So it could have been before that or after, or whatever. But it was specifically because some band was taking them to court. You know, like there was a band that took Led Zeppelin to court over like the opening bars of Stairway to Heaven or something.
Yeah, I heard
so
about
legally they weren't allowed to play it until that got cleared up. So I kind of get it. And speaking of Nico, because we were talking about this, we're only getting Alexander the Great because of Nico, because he's been saying to the rest of the band members for years, like, I want to play the song, you got to learn the song. Kind of like you were with the Crawling for some gig. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that happened, because it meant they played the whole album, and you know.
And you were asking for the specific song.
Yeah, I remember what song it was.
Poison Orange or something?
I think it was Poison Orange.
It's a great song.
We were like, we're going to play the whole album except this song. I was like, well, why not? It's too much like hard work, and I was just like, do the work.
Do the work.
And they do the work.
I know. But
yeah, Fear the Dark, everyone knows it. I mean, I assume everyone loves it unless they've heard it too many times, you know, but that's...
You know, I'd rather hear Fear of the Dark than Run to the Hills.
That's an interesting one. I would as well.
Or I know they're going to play it, but Iron Maiden, the title track.
That's what I was going to say, because it's up next, right?
Yeah.
That's where I am with their title track song, or you know that... Iron Maiden, by Iron Maiden, on Iron Maiden, like Black Sabbath, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But I've heard that song too many times because they play it every single show.
I'll tell you the thing with that song, right? If we were sitting down here and someone said, write an Iron Maiden list that you want to hear whenever you go to the show, right? I would probably not include that.
Yeah.
Right, as a sort of a preemptive thought. See, when I'm at the gig, if someone turned around to me and says, right, it's your decision now, they're going to play Iron Maiden or they're not going to play Iron Maiden, I'd be like, fucking play it right now.
It's twofold. I've never sat and like read the lyrics, but does it mean anything? You know what I mean? But I don't think it has to.
Fuckload of Maiden songs that mean absolutely
but
all,
that song, because it's self-titled and they played every show, it's like a celebration song and it's like jolly and fun. But the other thing is,
at the time when it was written, it was
exactly.
Was it was gonna get you, but it was a play on words with, was it Margaret Thatcher? No, she was called the Iron Lady.
Iron Lady. No, because they did have Women in Uniform, was it? Like a
Oh
single
no, yeah,
with that cover.
that
and
was
it's her
that.
on
Yeah,
the-
sorry.
But the other thing about that song, that's when the giant Eddie comes out
Yeah.
to play, and
So they-
that's always just fun.
They cannot not play it
No,
because
yeah,
of that.
because of that. No, it's like I completely get it, but am I right in saying, because I've been trying to stay away from too many clips of the live show and set and stuff, am I right in saying there's going to be 2 Eddies? So there's going to be a cyborg and a samurai. I'm not sure if they're going to be at the same time.
I would
or-
be surprised if there isn't at least 2 Eddies.
Yeah.
In fact, if someone wanted me to take a guess, I'd take a guess and say if we went down a limb, they'll have 3. I think we'll have one for the Iron Maiden song.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have one during one of the Sinjitzu
Which makes sense.
sets, and I think we'll have one during one of the
Yeah.
Summertime songs.
That would make sense.
I
But they always have the big one at the back, you know, with the big head.
Yeah.
And then they have one that comes on and fights with
And does
Yannick.
the awkward walk and
then
the
they fight
Bruce getting
with-
down.
So
It's- 'cause
they always
it's-
have 2 different ones, but there might be a third. I don't know. Actually.
Because I think that's it, and it suits the song because you got this big spectacle, like the theatrics of it and all.
Yeah.
But it's so wonky looking, and then the cheesy fights. It's like a B movie kind of aesthetic, you know.
it is.
And it's just fun, you know.
It is.
It's
tacky,
daft
like,
fun, yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, you know.
But
It's
it's
part of the show. They cannot do it.
exactly, and it's
Cannot not do it.
and plus, you know, I love those bands that it doesn't matter what the novelty is or whether it's a novelty or not. It's just like, what extra little thing can we throw in for the people coming to Japan to see us, or you know.
Yeah.
And it's just one that's kind of stood the test of time. So
Yeah.
you know, I'll not do without the song, but I think that's the end of the main set. And then
And then goes to the encore.
the encore's interesting because I could be wrong, but it's Hell on Earth, the last song in Sinjitzu, one of those massively long songs. Like it's either the longest or second longest. We've spoken about this.
Yeah.
You're a big fan. Like I love it.
Yeah.
I was hoping for the Parchment.
I know.
I was really hoping for the Parchment, but Hell on Earth I think is phenomenal.
Yeah. I think it's just
phenomenal.
epic.
It is.
It's the album Closer, and it's one of those that they actually went and they didn't say the main chorus. You probably have you heard this one?
Hell on Earth.
No.
So the main chorus, it builds up, and then it goes to the chorus, but they only play once.
Yeah.
And they never repeat it again. And the song is like what 10 minutes?
Oh, I think it's longer than that. I think it's like
11?
11 or 12 or maybe even...
11
It
minutes.
feels like it's 20 years long, to be fair, you know, but that could be a good thing if you're really into it. Or
I think it's one of those like When the Wild Wind Blows.
Phenomenal
That's 11
song.
as well.
Phenomenal.
I like
song.
that, but when I go see Iron Maiden, I don't want to hear it. Like,
Oh, I'm raging.
know?
I would love to hear that song live. But see what you're saying about the chorus is interesting because the chorus doesn't come in until like 4 or 5 minutes in. They play it once.
And that's it.
Then it's almost like they have a new chorus at the
Like
end. You're the love
yeah.
and anger and that whole
Yeah.
thing. So it's an interesting song. And I think it's interesting kind of... So with Book of Souls, it's the only Maiden record I think where Steve Harris only wrote one song. And you know, he's Iron Maiden. He's the
Book
main...
of Souls?
Red and the Black, as in just himself. See
right.
lyrics on Red and the Black, you can tell he was going through a hard time. Do you know, I think I may be reading interviews or whatever, like deaths in his family or illness or whatever, and this whole idea of just kind of his negative thoughts are being trapped in his head, and the lyrics are really dark and reflect that. Hell on Earth, similar. I think he wrote it or wrote it with someone else.
Right.
And it's just this kind of, it's like him just looking at the world and the state of things at the moment and just being like,
I do know.
you know,
See, whenever the X Factor came up,
mhm.
I think it was around the time his dad died, and that was because it was a lot of dark.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
a
was
lot,
dark.
a lot of people say that X Factor wasn't a great album because Steve wasn't in a good place. And
But
I'm like,
it was
I'm
dark.
like, I'm happy to blame Blaze entirely for the badness of those albums. Like, you know,
I mean, the lights
Imagine
are
the job
like
of
Blaze.
Blaze though, like you come in and replace
Well,
Bruce Dickinson, you know, like
in terms of
shouldn't
that.
have happened. Shouldn't have happened.
maybe they should have taken a break, but
Yep.
I still do like those albums.
What I mean, just quickly, because the way I view that is, in my opinion, there was a big dip when it came to the likes of No Prayer for the Dying and stuff, and I just felt like they'd run out of whatever fuel they were on. And I think it was almost natural for Bruce to want to explore other,
Maybe.
like the likes of Tears of the Dragon, phenomenal song and everything else. But see with
Bruce,
Blaze, so the Klansman, Sign of the Cross, like see songs like that, I adore. But what I like about Blaze is that he's, and especially in this industry and rock and roll, and he goes and there's no bad bones. There's nothing. He's got nothing but respect for his time in doing that, and he just seems so down to earth and dead on, and you know.
Yeah.
So
we talking about the same guy?
Blaze Bailey, yeah.
Yeah, started fights with fans, spitting on fans, and all.
Was this at the time?
At the time when he was on
because
with
I'm
Iron
thinking
Maiden.
recent interviews.
And to me, like, Maiden were always that band, you know, didn't do drugs, didn't get smashed, didn't wreck hotel rooms, you know, they were just clean cut. We write music, we're a heavy metal band, and that's what we do. There was never any drama or controversy with Iron Maiden, aside from, you know, Number of the Beast, which was
that's a non-issue.
what it was. And then for Blaze to come in and to be this sort of, you know, fucking cocky asshole kind of guy that gets in fights.
Was he actually? Yeah.
And stuff.
I never heard of
This is
it.
news to me because I guess it's like I don't listen to those albums often, but there is songs on them I really like.
He was short fused. Honestly, to me,
Right.
that whole era of Iron Maiden, I really,
So like a write-off,
dislike. And
basically.
it's not. It's partially the music. It's partially Blaze's behavior whenever he was in the band. It was the fact that Maiden even existed at the time. I just don't think they should have without Bruce at the helm.
But
it's like you would never ever have had Metallica without James Hetfield.
No.
It would not have
No.
been a thing.
Well,
No chance. And Maiden
But Steve
should have
Harris
been-
is James Hetfield in the Army.
Exactly,
You know what I
and
mean?
that's interesting because Paul Di'Anno was OG Maiden, and I love Paul Di'Anno, or at least the first two albums. You know?
Yeah.
So I think if Bruce had him in there from the very start, like if Bruce was the OG vocalist, I would 100% get that. But he was the second singer, and then Blaze was the third, and then Bruce was the fourth technically because he came back. You know. But no, honestly, I've only read interviews sort of recently where people, because obviously you can't interview Blaze Bailey without talking about Iron Maiden, you know, that whole thing.
Sure, yeah.
And just based on those interviews, I thought he was like, maybe he's mellowed out now if he was like that
probably,
then.
yeah. Most people do whenever they get into their older years.
True. But just sort of circling back with Hell on Earth, because it's really grim lyrics, and it's one of those things, you know, people like to kind of not think about things like this, but the world is pretty grim at the minute in certain ways, right? But see not the lyrics, but see the music and the melody and the kind of notes and things. With Hell on Earth, it actually sounds kind of uplifting, so there's that kind of contrast, like, which is really interesting. But see, in terms of just as an example for yourself, so people that weren't really into Sinjitzu think that it goes on way too long and things. This is a long song, and it's got a long intro where not much happens, and I can see some people leaving, maybe just to the bar or something.
Well, I was going to say, they actually serve food in the 3 Arena, so I might go and get a hot dog or something.
You know?
I feel like that with Parchment.
Which is fair, because
It's repetitive a
Yeah.
lot. Like that middle section is just like
Yeah,
the same riff like
there's-
8 times or something. It's like,
and I know
move
you
on.
were saying about
You know?
dissecting it and things, but with the Parchment, there is one riff in particular that just goes and then goes again and then goes again.
I think they should
And
move on from
yeah,
that.
100%. But I think with me, because I love the song as a whole, I think some of the lyrics are just really like uplifting.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have this kind of, I don't know, like some weird esoteric shrine around it or something, because it's called The Parchment and it's about something in history I don't know anything about, but like I love the song, but that one riff just keeps going. It's almost like a record that gets stuck for a bit.
Yeah.
And then it goes. So when I put it on or put the album on, I have to be aware that I need... Actually, this is funny because there's a lyric on The Parchment that's patience is no sin. So I have to be aware that those parts are going to come up. I have to just kind of stick with them to get to the other parts, you know.
Yeah.
But so after Hell on Earth, it's The Trooper, and it's another one of those songs. It's just
classic.
a staple.
Yeah,
And like, you know, we're talking about Gallop. For me, The Trooper is the quintessential Gallop.
Absolutely.
And it's literally about charging horses, so it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we spoke about it earlier, the last song, Wasted Years. And after, you know, because I didn't used to listen to it, then I got it, and I can't think of a better way to end a Maiden set other than that big uplifting kind of, you know, just a reminder to enjoy life, basically, you know. And technically the last song,
Always look on the bright side of life.
see the amount of times I've been to a Maiden gig, say I've got to the barrier, I don't leave until that song comes and goes, because that's the end. I've had security coming up to me like in 2s and 3s and being like, it's over, mate, leave. And I'm like, it's not over until that. And they're like, no,
It's not over until Eric Idle sings.
no, exactly. Literally, like, I've had one kind of, I don't think I was a bit pissy with them, but they kind of approached me to try and physically.
Yeah.
And then the song started. I was just like, told you, you know. And it's just a nice final moment to end the whole thing. You know?
Yeah. Like I first time I heard that, I never knew that, you know, watched it for the first time, and then that song came on, I was like, you know what, this is probably like a thing for people to calm down.
Generally speaking, I can take it or leave it. Don't really care because the gig's over.
Oh, the gig's over. I'm the same.
It's just what happens to be playing every time whenever I'm walking out of a Maiden gig.
Yeah, but I think that's the symbolism of it almost.
The exception being, anytime I've seen Maiden at a festival.
Mm-hmm.
So the gig's over, and you've got, for talk's sake, 80,000, 90,000, 100,000 people.
Oh yeah, you can get out like
all in this field, and they all have to do that zombie shuffle out where they're kind of like trying to get out of the festival, but you can't because there's literally thousands of people.
And then the songs,
and everyone's about like the whole day's over, and that kicks in.
Yeah.
And everyone sings it as they're walking out, and that's a bit of a laugh.
yeah.
Like, I mean, it works best in that environment.
I did a weird thing after Belsonic. So because I didn't get the mosh, I emailed them specifically asking if they were doing a golden circle thing, because I would have went and queued for as long as it took to get one, to get to the fun part, to get moshing. And so again, the show is always going to be good because it's Maiden, but there was a bit of underwhelm with other stuff. So I remember when the crowd left and I finally got to touch the barrier at the end of the set, and because I was pissed as well, I started windmilling for always like on the right side of my. All my friends behind me were just like, what's he doing? And it's like, just leave.
He's feeling the song too much.
Funny enough, I have to ask your opinion on that, because moshing the Iron Maiden.
Right. Now we're on the topic, right? Yes, you can do it. You can dance. You can jump.
I mean,
you can put your arm around your friend, and right? Because see, after that Belsonic show, see if you're at this gig and you're not moving, you're not enjoying yourself, you're not reminding yourself that you're alive, that these are moments that don't come back, you know. Just please have fun. And if you're not having fun and you're not moving, just please move away from me or I'll move away from you.
You can go get a hot dog with me when I play Sinjitzu.
Like, I'm dying for a circle pit, a mosh, like anything. I want to dance. Me, like,
I seen the mosh pit number of the beast. The song.
Oh, easy, yeah.
But like, don't get me wrong. The last time I seen them in the Odyssey, I came out. I was in agony, like my shoulders and stuff. We were talking to people outside, and it was like, I can't chat. I have to go home. I am in so much pain because it headbanged so much and it screamed so much and sang along and fists and horns and stuff. Like, I was going nuts. It's just not moshy music to me, you know?
It doesn't have to be violent moshing.
I don't mean that.
You know, there's no like crowd killing or nothing, but it's still just.
Although, don't give me ideas.
Well, but no, it's not violent moshing, but it's just the same concept. A bunch of bodies just swirling in one place to the rhythm of the song. You know, I'm dying for it because keep in mind, Belsonic was last year. The 2018 show, I was seated. So I haven't had that experience since 2017. So I am dying for it. But should we take a break now and then come back for the...
Yeah, because that's the end of the set. So
so we'll take a break and then we'll come back for part 2 essentially. Well, welcome back to, I suppose, what is part 2 of this Iron Maiden Special, the Wrong Kind of Music podcast episode. So, considering the whole point of this set was the tour concept, you know, 5 Somewhere in Time songs, 5 Sinjitzu songs, 5 other songs, and Alexander the Great, you know, that's what made it special, so to speak. I decided it would be a fun idea to get the 3 of us to kind of come up with our ideal sets within those kind of parameters.
Right.
And I'm actually really interested to see what he's come up with. So, do you want to go first?
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna, because I saved it on the Spotify. So.
Oh no, that's what I'm gonna do with mine, so I can actually listen to it and imagine it happening. You know,
just so I can organize it. So it starts the same way, Caught Somewhere in Time.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's the ideal opener, really, right? But then instead of Stranger in a Strange Land, I put Sea of Madness.
Nice.
That song, that's a heavy Iron Maiden song. It's just that riff, you know.
And the chorus and the
yeah.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. So those are 2, and then goes into Sinjitzu. So I think Days of Future Past, because of the name of the tour, and because it's like I was saying earlier, it is a fast paced one. So I think it's well put, you know.
Fair.
and then I put Lost in the Lost World.
Yes.
I was like that one. I
There's-
prefer that one than the Time Machine. That was the swap I did.
No, I was talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Is that one you're familiar with, or
No, honestly, Writing on the Wall is literally the only
That's the
song
one?
that I'm familiar
Right.
with.
fair?
And
There's
possibly the title track as well.
Yeah.
If you stuck it on, I would probably go, oh yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
apart from that, I just
Yeah.
do not know the album because it's no interest in this.
No,
Okay.
you think it's pants, like that's fair. But see, Lost in a Lost World, there's something about it that just works so well. And see the notes that Bruce hits in the chorus, considering the age they use
Yeah.
as well. Like I would struggle to hit those,
Yeah.
you know. And yeah, it's a good choice.
Yeah, and then so 2 Somewhere in Time, 2 Sinjitzu, and then just one that they actually never played live as well
Mhm.
before, and that's Out of the Silent Planet.
Fucking belter of a song.
It
You
is.
know
Right,
what?
isn't it?
Yeah,
Like that's one of my favorites on the album.
Yeah.
One of my
I was
favorites.
about to say I might actually change mine now,
Ah.
but you know what? We'll hold off. I don't think I
well,
need to say that.
just to
Yeah.
pause it now, right? I think all three of us can agree, whether it's within the confines of this tour concept or in general, anything we do here is subject to change depending on how we're feeling on a certain day. Like that's how good of a band they are. Like let's face it.
Yeah, yeah.
You
yeah.
know.
Like I had to keep it kind of realistic, but you know, like it's
Well, I mean, that's I suppose this whole
It's
thing
15
is part
songs.
fantasy, you know. But yeah.
yeah. So 15 songs, 5 Sinjitzu, 5 Somewhere in Time, and 5 the
Others.
others. Yeah. So after that, I went back to Somewhere in Time and put Deja Vu.
Okay.
I really like Deja Vu.
Yeah.
I really do. Yep.
I-
I mean it's off Somewhere in Time, and there's no bad
Yeah.
songs in that album.
Right.
It is. There's no song you need to skip on that album, start to
No.
finish.
Yeah.
So you can't pick a bad one, to be honest.
In saying that, I think it's my least favorite on the album.
Yeah.
But I used to not like it, but it's grown on me. Like
Yeah.
it's really good.
Here's an interesting fact for you. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, that's an absolute lie. Here's a really boring fact for you. Right? Called Somewhere in Time has obviously been, Somewhere in Time has been released multiple times and repressed and whatnot. Depending on what version you've got, Deja Vu might be spelled slightly different.
Yeah.
Some of them have a hyphen, some of them don't. Some of them
Yeah.
have is it an umlaut? Or, you know, the
Like
wee
an umlaut.
strokes?
Oh yeah.
Accent, yeah.
Because I think is it a French word?
It's the French one.
So
It is.
I think it's deja vu
I
with
think I've been
spaces,
seen
but
before, doesn't it?
it's like
Yeah.
one of the
Deja Vu, yeah, is like that. Like I don't know, like you've been here before.
Yeah.
You witnessed
well,
that
that's the
moment.
lyrics, isn't it?
No,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But in terms of the actual spelling, if I'm not wrong, is the day has the stroke going one direction, and the Jew has it going, or Vu has it going the opposite direction. So, but
Yeah.
to me, it's almost symbolic of this whole like repeating kind of the inverse, the symmetry, and the. But whatever, we'll move on. We'll move on.
I think it's just the way the French language is, to be
Oh
honest.
yeah, I know nothing about the French language.
Right, so after that, I put one song of Somewhere in Time, so that's Deja Vu. That's kind of my replacement for Heaven Can Wait, to be
Okay,
honest. And then I put The Parchment.
you picked the parchment.
Yeah.
Cheers to
So,
that.
yeah. I think it's a great song. Like, it's not my favorite of the album, but it is.
Yeah.
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 And then another Sinjitzu, Darkest Hour. That one about Winston Church.
Mhm.
It's that kind of a ballad, so I think it's nice there, in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you're conscious of dynamics as well, and I mean,
Yeah.
especially being in a band, and so that kind of like just a bit of a pause.
I
and a
always
spike.
think about that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Right. So, and then after that, I go back to Somewhere in Time and put Stranger in the Strange Land
Yes.
after that one. So it's kind of, and then I just go all out after that, and I'm like, it's just my ideal playlist
Yeah.
or set list. So after that, I go Rime of the Ancient Mariner.
Good choice.
Right on it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like it's top 3 songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then after that, I don't know if I should put the encore here, but what encore would you say? What 3 songs?
They tend.
Well, I'm gonna fuck with that. But
Okay,
yeah,
right,
sure,
right.
3 songs.
If it's like it's your set, if it's
Okay,
your
okay.
encore,
No, it's not encore yet. Then.
okay.
So this is the last song before.
This is the tease for the encore, we'll say.
No, okay. Right, see, this is the next song. Only the Good Die Young.
Great song.
Last
And-
song on
Of Seven Son.
Yeah,
And
and
they never
I
played
was
it
gonna
live
say
yet.
it's another
They
one that
haven't
they've
played
never
that?
played before for some reason,
Oh shit.
which
So,
is
yeah.
weird because obviously that mirror 7 Deadly Sins that starts and ends the album with, and they've never played it live before, so yeah, that's great shit.
Then after, so these are all long songs, and then after that I go back to the second album, Killers, so I put Purgatory. Purgatory is a good
absolutely
song. 3 or 4 minutes,
just get phenomenal song.
And I think it's a belter album.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bruce ever sang that.
I'm not sure, but like maybe,
Yeah. So okay, now we do the encore, last 3 songs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Hell on Earth.
Nice.
So that's the 5th. And then Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
Just before the last song, and then the last song, I'll Be Thy Name. Because it's just,
No, that's a phenomenal encore. That's
I think it has to be
end
that.
it. And it's a good song to end things on, and that's
And first time I saw Maiden, that was the song I was looking forward to, and they didn't play it.
They didn't?
No.
Have you heard it since though, live?
Oh yeah.
That's
the
good.
last 2.
Have you heard Machine Head's cover of it?
Yeah.
Like, to me, you shouldn't cover Maiden.
Mm-hmm. I get
That's
that.
pretty damn good.
It is.
Yeah.
I think Machine Head done themselves right with that.
They said they did Battery on this?
Battery in the same because it was the Black Hidden album, like B-sides or whatever. Yeah. So obviously that was them at their literal pinnacle and prime. So
absolutely.
because did they cover Judas Priest on Locust, or am I thinking of something else completely?
Sentinel, I think.
Yes, that's what it was. That wasn't a bad one either. How did you get on with the set list?
Okay, right. Couple of things. Number 1, forgive me because I might be a bit of a dickhead about this.
Okay.
In proper, in proper TWKOM fashion. Number 2, I did not fully understand the assignment, so I don't have mine in order.
That's fine.
I just.
But it doesn't have to be in order.
Okay.
But because remember when they announced this whole tour?
But I get that I've got 5 songs off Sinjitzu.
Okay.
5 off Somewhere in Time.
Then 5 others.
Because just quickly before the set list was actually announced, and they launched, they said what the tour concept was going to be, and they teased some artwork. Mm-hmm. And then that whole Summer in Time artwork, the whole intricacies and the different details, that in the top corner was like a football score that said 5-5.
Yes.
And that's when people first copped on that that's what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And they were right, But go ahead.
Okay, so also I'm going to throw in a few, not just like what songs I want them to play. I want them to like do a few things on stage that make me exceptionally happy.
Alright,
go for it.
We'll go through it, right?
I'm
so first
off,
they come straight on stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they play The Writing on the Wall 5 times.
What?
Okay.
How does that happen?
Play the same song 5 times because it's the only good song on the album.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I thought you were going to be like. Alright, fair.
And it might get a wee bit boring, but it gives you loads of time to go to the toilet or go grab beers or chocolate bits or whatever.
Right, so nothing of Sinjitzu.
Right.
You might as well just play 5 times on the PA and then they'll come out for this.
And then you said that, the encore is usually the last 3 songs. No, after this, they go off stage after playing Writing on the Wall 5 times.
Right.
And then they do a 10-song encore, right? Which is 5 tracks plus 5 off Somewhere in Time. But before that, they come out, right? And they publicly burn Virtual 11. And the X Factor live on stage.
like fucking
literally just CDs
Behemoth deal with the Bible.
And Eddie comes out with a flamethrower and sets them on fire. And then they promise to the crowd that they'll never play any songs off those albums ever again. Right?
You're brutal.
There's more to come.
Right. Let's go.
Then they walk off stage, right? And then they all come back on stage and they publicly fire Yannick Gers for
no, fuck off.
For being surplus to requirement.
Nope, nope, completely disagree, but it's your set. Come on.
And it means there's no more stupid dad dancing on stage when you're watching Iron Maiden.
Who's going to pay for that? Who's pay for that?
And then
Yannick Gers is getting promoted in my set.
Ridiculousness aside, we'll get into the next 10 songs. The 5 off Somewhere in Time for me would be Wasted Years, Sea of Madness, Heaven Can Wait, Caught Somewhere in Time, and Stranger in a Strange Land. And that's coming from someone who I mean, the whole set list that I'm coming up with is probably coming from an angle of I've seen this band a bunch of times and I don't really feel the need to hear the Trooper again and Fear the Dark.
Oh yeah, 100%. I get that.
And Running Free.
That's why I didn't be cool.
But
you know, so it's like if it was up to me, let's dig a little deeper. No, it wouldn't suit the crowd. I know that a lot of people go home crying that they didn't play all the songs that they wanted to hear, but that's going to happen anyway. You know, it always does. So those would be the 5, and that's probably those 5 are just the biggest sing-alongs. That's what I'm there for.
Which is fair, but am I right in saying you're omitting Alexander the Great itself?
I would have them play it on the basis of the fans really, really want it. You know,
Well,
but if it was just me going, this is purely self-indulgent, and this is me,
which is the whole point.
this is me having Maiden play whatever
Yeah.
I want them to play, then I'd take a pass on it.
Because to be fair, right? Because obviously there's the whole thing. They've never played it. Technically, that first show of the tour was the one important time because they played it. After that, we're still getting to hear it, but this is post them having played it.
Depends on your perspective. Is it important to you that they have just played it, or is it important to you that you've heard it?
For me, both.
Been there and experienced it.
But I think the whole atmosphere surrounding that song in particular was also specifically tied into the fact that in their history they've never played it before.
Yeah.
So it's almost in that sense that first time they played it is the important part of people that care about that aspect of it, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you don't want to hear it, at least for this set list, fine.
So it's not that I don't want to hear it, it's that you restrict me. If it was up to me,
to
play somewhere in time start to finish.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And then Parsley of start to finish, and then 7 Sons start to finish.
That's what I was saying.
And
to
then
him,
Peace of Mind start to finish.
I would just do like 7 gigs in a row, full albums, so you know.
But then 5 Maiden songs that I would love to hear live, going to see them. I know I'm sort of contradicting myself a wee bit here, but Aces High.
Right.
I absolutely adore Aces High. I think it's their best song. It just fires off. Like, it is just such a good song.
It's a perfect song.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. So seeing Maiden and not hearing Aces High would always be a wee bit of a disappointment.
Just quickly to cut in, I thought that was pretty special at Belsonic, and I think they might have done it at the previous Legacy of the Beast
tour. It was the first song of the encore, is that right?
Yeah, no, they had an encore. Then their encore was done.
Yeah.
Then they had a second encore with the plane and just Aces High by itself, so it got like that kind of special status. So that was good.
2 songs off Brave New World. It's Ghost of the Navigator and Out of the Silent Planet.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I just think they are great songs, especially Ghost of the Navigator. It's a song that just takes so many like twists and turns and changes. It almost feels like they wrote 3 different songs, took the best parts of them all, mashed it together. It shouldn't work, but it does.
And just see that, like, I see the ghosts of... It's special, but it's making me think. So we've got Remy the Ancient Mariner, The Talisman.
It's like a trilogy kind of thing.
Yeah, of like songs about ships or seafaring or things like that, which is just interesting, you know.
And then 2 songs off Seventh Son, and it would be the 2 that I think I've heard live least, or possibly not heard at all. The Prophecy and Clairvoyant. I think The Prophecy is the only Maiden song with heavy vocals on it, with like growls.
I know what you mean.
Like towards the end where it all like ramps up and...
But then Infinite Dreams have that thing.
I'll stick it on.
Yeah, afterwards. Infinite Dreams as well. I think one of those 2, I could be wrong on this, but I think one of those 2 is also a song they've never played live before.
The Prophecy.
I think it's The Prophecy itself.
I saw Clairvoyant.
Yeah, I'm sure they've played Clairvoyant live.
See, because isn't it the one that has either the acoustic guitar intro or outro?
Yeah.
And the dun 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 dun.
It's like the Baroque. Baroque.
Oh, you know, exactly. Cause
like outro.
There's a Spanish band, and I don't know, Mago de Oz, because I think it means Wizard of Oz in Spanish. They did a cover of Strange World, do you know, off the first album? And have you heard it?
Not the cover.
No, the cover is
song,
because you know that song's immaculate, but it's really kind of restrained and like poetic and atmospheric. They took it and just turned it into an all-out ballsy power metal kind of song, but then they ended it with that guitar part of The Prophecy, and it's perfect. Like, it just flows so perfectly. But continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's me. So
that's it.
Yeah. So those songs. The last 10, I don't give a fuck what order.
You did a 10-song set list, essentially, yeah. No, that had me in stitches, that intro, so...
In fact, see the Sinjitzu songs, I don't even need to play it. They could just just stick the CD on. Leave it
Which,
on.
yeah, no, that's because
maybe I'm probably being overly cynical, but
no, I get that. But
and as I say, hearing those songs live might trigger something in me to kind of appreciate them. And not only that, I will, as I say, I've said it a number of times that I haven't properly listened to that album. I will give it a couple of rattles before next week. Yeah,
because I genuinely hope that'll be the case, that some can break you, like not just because I'm like preaching the album, but for your own enjoyment of the night, because potentially there's a whole third of that set that you might not enjoy, so hopefully you do, but just going from
it might click after, like
no, that's
the Souls.
Exactly.
That's the hope, but like
we'll see.
The Writing on the Wall is the only listenable song on Sinjitzu. We'll do it 5 times. Right. So I surprised myself with a couple of these, but right, we said earlier,
start
Somewhere in Time, Stranger in a Strange Land, perfect intro.
Alright, so you keep it.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, should I change it? No, like for this tour concept or whatever, perfect intro. Like I don't think you can get better than it.
Right.
But I didn't want to jump into Sinjitzu or anything else just yet. So I wanted to keep the whole Somewhere in Time train rolling.
Okay.
The loneliness of the long distance runner.
Yeah.
I don't know if they played it live or not, but if they have, very few times. And because I've always loved it, but over the years, it's just kind of grew on me more and more and more.
I really, really like it. And it oddly reminds me of my dad, because my dad has told me a bunch of times to read a book by Stephen King about a race, about guys that goes running. I think it's a short story of the Bachman books. Don't know if you're familiar. I haven't read it myself, but just every time I hear the long distance runner, it then ties up with the story of my dad telling me to read this book and stuff. And oddly enough, I also get Forrest Gump stuck in my head. And now that I've said that,
because he's but he's not lonely.
One day I just woke up and I ran or whatever it is.
Run, Forrest.
And now that I've said that, that's all you're gonna think.
No, I'm gonna consciously not let that happen. But no, because
it's a great shout.
But what you're saying in terms of like, we'll call it emotional connections, sentimental connections, or whatever. You can have that with any band, any song, whatever, but just for me personally, I guess it ties into just the love I have for this one band. It almost means more, those kind of things, And it that actually dictated like a song or two that I put in this. So, 3 songs, Somewhere in Time, hit the ground running, like almost literally with Loneliness, Long Distance Runner, but I had to just jump immediately to Seventh Son because it's like the whole concept, twin albums, it's a song I've never heard live. I don't think I'll ever hear live, considering, who knows how long they have left and stuff. But this song is just, I don't know, one of the best songs. You know what it is. The music, especially the lyrics, resonate with me so much and stuff. But Infinite Dream from Seventh Son, perfect song.
Yeah. I think I love it. I absolutely love that song. I'm not sure it's what I want from Maiden at a live show though.
They did play it in the 80s.
Because it's chill. It's chill as fuck, like.
But, I mean, that's the thing, like, at least in terms of dynamics of this, it's like starting high, then Stranger in a Strange Land, then going up and then slightly down. But with it starts off like that. Do you not remember its whole outro section? And it's just, but so after that, obviously with the dynamics and stuff, so its lyrics are, I don't know, contemplative, whatever you want to call it, poignant. So I've kind of kept that thing going through the, say, lyrics or whatever, but Darkest Hour, I picked as well. I didn't think I was going to. As you mentioned, the song's about Winston Churchill. I'll keep my opinions on Winston Churchill to myself, but I understand, especially the band being British and being really proud to be British and things, and obviously they use that clip to open up Aces High. I understand they have a lot of respect or love or whatever it is for him, or we'll say his good qualities. Or
I don't think that's necessarily the case. Like,
I think they're just narrating.
They write songs about history.
Yeah.
No,
they always have, And
the thing is, just to jump in, so Days of Future Past, they said specifically about Constantine. Darkest Hour was the name of the film with Gary Oldman that came out about Churchill. And the lyrics are specifically about him, and I can only imagine that one of them watched that film and then kind of went, you know what, this has inspired me to go write a song.
Steve Harris.
Because it's literally, it's about him and the the glory that they hope that he has in the afterlife. Like, that's my kind of take on it. But they specifically mention, like, you know, my black dog has its day, and that was the whole term for depression that was, I don't think he came up with it, but it was really associated with him and stuff. So even though I'm not his biggest fan, the emotions that he inspired in the band to write that song, I can feel when I listen to it. And I think there's just something about it that's just really nice. And it also brings the dynamic down a little bit. And to keep that kind of mood, tone kind of going, Lost in the Lost World, straight after it. I think that would just be a nice flow, and it has lyrics that are similar and stuff. And after this is the song that surprised me the most. And when I thought about it, I was like, I have some sort of an emotional connection to it, or like a sentiment.
But this is
memory.
outside those two.
Oh yeah, it's No More Lives.
Oh,
Off Dance to Death.
Song, yeah.
You're not a fan?
Nope.
Fair.
I do like that song.
I love it, but
I like that whole album.
no, that's the thing. So
this.
I could have went. I was so close to doing the title track, but I have seen it before. That's the reason I didn't pick it.
Yeah, I
could have went for Passchendaele.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
I'd take Passchendaele over No More Lies any day.
Initially, I had Passchendaele, but then I just thought, I don't know, this song for some reason, I think it was like whatever, I was like 15, 16, I first heard it, whatever was going on, it just resonated with me that much that I was like, no, like that would just wash over me if I heard it live. You know, I'm putting it in. And back to Sinjitzu, and to bring things up a bit more excitement, Strategia.
Oh, okay.
The galloping in that chorus I just love, and it's about, you know, can you teach me the art of war? And
I think that is more towards classic Maiden. That song.
No, true, yeah. Like, and speaking of, because obviously lyrics are about war, fighting or whatever, straight into one of the number one songs I hope I get to hear live at some point. Afraid to Shoot Strangers.
I've heard it.
You've told me, I'm very jealous.
Yeah.
But like, the song is just immaculate, you know. Yeah. And then after that is same album, which obviously is going to flow nicely. As I said earlier, quintessential.
Sorry to interrupt you. Afraid to Shoot Strangers, is that off Fear the Dark?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Speaking of Fear the Dark, title track, straight after it.
Oh, you do?
Definitely. Then, you know, everyone's doing the whole whoa together. And then after that, I'm keeping the same duo of Heaven Can Wait, because you're keeping that whoa, keep going.
Okay.
And then it acts as an intro for Alexander the Great.
Okay.
Because apparently they're playing it again. I'm almost in disbelief. I don't want to accept it until it happens. But like, that's gonna be mind blowing. And then 3-song encore, because that just seems to be a standard number of songs for an encore. But I mean,
depends how long they're.
I like a bit of excess, a bit of extravagance. So I have a 3-song encore, but it's 35 minutes long.
Oh, okay.
And it is To Tame a Land.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is their most underrated or underappreciated song, or whatever way you want to.
Power Slave?
Last song on Peace of Mind.
Peace of Mind, okay.
It's one, because you know that whole pattern of the epic song at the end of the album, and
it's because you love Dune.
Yeah, so it's about Dune. One of my favorite books ever. The movie's fantastic. Second one's coming out soon. The song itself is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you know that intro where the bass is going and then it just changes on a dime and gets into it?
It's like you said, it's so underrated.
Yeah.
You know, for some reason.
But that intro
it's
right
not,
into
it's like Maiden fans know about it, but it is.
But no, even then, like I know a load of people that love Maiden that just don't know that song or don't speak about it or whatever. Yeah. And the fact that it's about Dune and how they took the story and put it into the lyrics, and like, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Then after that, I went for Not Hell on Earth, The Parchment.
Yeah.
You know, just put it in there, big epic song, phenomenal. And then, in my opinion, finish on their absolute best song that they've ever written and ever will write. Yeah.
Remedy and Shamarna.
Like, I need to hear that song live. Like, I don't know how much money or, you know, what. Like, I just need to hear that song live.
See, when
it's so perfect. You've heard it live, haven't you?
No. I heard Seven Son.
Did they do the full? Did they do the full boat?
With the boards creaking and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, man. So you hear it on Flight 666?
Yeah.
On the see on that part where he kicks back in, and the guy on that shot on the movie, he's just going like
Yeah.
mental. Like I always see that, and I was like, "Dang, that would be me," you know.
Funny enough, before going to Twickenham, I'd looked at the set list and it was like I seen Remy the Ancient Mariner. I went, that's a bit of a. Well, it starts off very mellow anyway. It's very storytelling.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And I seen the set list and I thought, I know at some point I'm gonna have to go grab a beer. So I was looking at it going, that's the perfect opportunity. Now where I was standing, there was literally a bar a stone's throw to my right. And I thought,
I know
right,
where
I'll
this
go
is
over.
going.
No, just went over, grabbed the beer, and came back within like 30 seconds.
Oh.
I kind of thought to myself, I'm glad that didn't take long because I needed to be here for this.
Entranced,
not standing
I'm
in a
assuming, like...
It's just a really, really good song. And as you say, it's one that conjures up images in your head.
Yeah. Because it's, what, 14?
There's the thing with the dove and the...
Oh, the albatross and the...
And the bit about, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Yeah.
And in my head, there's this guy with nothing but a bit of wood, and he's in the water.
It literally just takes a paintbrush to your brain, essentially, you know. But it's like 14 minutes long or whatever. They would have made it longer if they could, because it's based on a poem by Samuel Taylor Coleridge or something like that.
Take your word for it.
At the time, it was the longest poem either in history or the English language, because I know the likes of Beowulf, like those epic poems that are like novel length stories, but it's still within the confines of it.
The thing about rhyme, I see when you said though that it's 14 minutes, I was like,
is it? Because it doesn't.
It
doesn't seem
feel like a 14-minute song. You know,
That's
it doesn't.
You know.
Like there's other songs I've heard by them. What's the one at the very end? The Book of Souls.
Oh, the
Empire
Empire
of
of
the
the Clouds. 18 minutes or something like that.
That feels too long.
Sounded to me like it doesn't belong at a rock show. It belongs
Like an
in
opera
a theater.
or a
that belongs in a theater.
Even on the album, I think it's too long. 18
Okay,
minutes, I think.
I love it, but it's one of those ones like the Parchment. I need to have the time and the patience going in to appreciate
I think
it. And
every part of Rhyme the Ancient Mariner exists for a reason.
yeah, there's not a part out of
serves
place.
the song.
Yeah.
It's not just, it doesn't meander. It doesn't exist. It didn't feel like they set out to write a 14-minute song.
That's right.
Whereas for some of the other really long songs, it was like, let's write an 18-minute song.
Yeah.
Let's make our song that's really, really fucking long. Well, how will we do that? We'll just pad it out with the same riff over and over again.
See, right, Empire of the Clouds, I do like it, but say if I didn't, there's one really redeeming quality that it has, because I think it's the first time they did piano. And, you know, that's one thing, but so they had this piano progression opening, but then what they did, and it just works so well.
SOS thing.
Steve comes in,
Yeah.
so there's piano, bass, harmonizing, and that's it for a
Yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
section, and it's just beautiful. Like, it just works.
And you know that part in the middle is that's SOS.
Oh, the SOS, yeah.
That's pretty
And I mean, that's the whole thing with them, like, it's just creative and doing different things. But see, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, like, I could go on and on and on and on.
Yeah,
and on.
no, like
it's perfect. But see
the solo.
No, that's what I was gonna say. So, one thing for me that sets Maiden apart from other bands is there's certain parts. Say it's a note in a solo or a chorus or whatever that just fills my entire being with like this euphoria.
Yeah.
So you know the harmony of Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, like da, da, you know, it's just like, I don't know, religious people's concepts of heaven and immaculate, you know. For me, it's just that one section of that one song. Like, it's just perfect.
Yeah, it's the melody, man. You know, the riffs are just full with that. The twin guitars thing, but also it's just melody.
Yeah,
you know,
everything
like,
is just perfect.
It's so well written.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. Yeah.
And then, so that's my 35-minute encore and the rest of the set and stuff. But just to revert back to something, Yannick Gers is a legend. I love that man. See the Book of Souls tour, because I got to the rail and I was at the front and he was over to the side that I was. His antics, like 56, how old is he? Running about, flicking his leg on top of the speaker and doing all the, while still playing.
Sometimes he can look goofy a bit, but it's
but
just
he's
the way
loving
he is,
life, you know. But the thing in terms of the music, because I get that he was in when Adrian left, when Bruce left, before Brave New World and stuff, and they could have just kicked them out for them coming back, but
could have, should have.
But you know, their whole thing about harmonizing guitars and all that kind of stuff, it meant that they had more options, because instead of just the bass underneath, they had the third option of another guitar doing harmonies and melodies. And
well, there's a lot of people that reckon he wasn't playing for a
At all?
A lot of years that his volume was just way, way, way down.
Like a Jason
And I honestly think if you go through a lot of those DVDs, like as far back as like Rock and Rio would be one that I really, really like. And I really, really think if you sit down and watch Rock and Rio and you try and find the
like
sounds
his tone,
that are matching up with what he's playing, I just don't think they're there.
I did notice
really
that
don't. Mm.
whenever, because I watched that
To me-
concert so many times. But you're right, like it's
Is there
just
familiar-
lower in the mix, kind of.
Yeah, like drop right down.
Yeah.
Because I remember what was it? It was a Dance of Death tour,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one of the songs that opens up with an acoustic guitar, and the
It's
acoustic,
not Journeyman, yeah.
and the acoustic guitar sits on like a, they don't have
Yes,
it wrapped around. It,
yeah,
so it
like
sits
the
there,
guitar.
and they come up, and I remember Yannick playing that bit. And the first thing that came to my mind was, fuck, they're letting Yannick join in.
No, because that's funny,
That's
right?
lovely.
If there's this whole, I'm not going to call it conspiracy or nothing because it's the first I've heard of it, but if that's the case of he wasn't actually playing, it was just like a little puppy that they didn't want to let go after Bruce and
Is
Adrian came
familiar
back.
with the Happy Mondays? Yeah, they used to have Bez.
Oh, Bez, yeah.
That just,
No, that's what I was going to
I think
say
what-
because then he's
to
like,
me, Yannick
he's a
Gers
hype
was-
man that's just running about the stage getting the, and it, I
think
mean, it works.
That
So.
what happens
it
is-
doesn't work.
And I know-
I will honestly, I know that he generally stands on stage right if you're facing the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
I will literally watch Maiden from the left so that he's not in my peripheral vision.
Stage right happens to be my preferred spot for any gig ever, so I think that's where he happened to be in front of me for the Book of Souls tour. But like, obviously the song's going on, I'm loving it, and then every time I just see him just doing his thing with a big smile, I'm just like, seeing him do that is making me feel better. So
Fair.
if you want to call him the best of Maiden, he's doing a good job of it, But the other thing is, right, and I like, it's ironic that I can't pick certain examples now, but I know he's had limited song credits, but the ones that he does have are pretty good. And he also is a bit like Rob Trujillo from Metallica now, where he's inspiring the other guys to do certain things.
Funny enough, I think it was me and Steve Martin from now Fred Ends used to be in Red 6 was in the fight with me, and I used to mouth off about Yannick Gers. I used to be a lot more animated about it. I used to be like, I have a bit of banter about it now. It's kind of a joke that I don't like Yannick Gers, but back then it used to be, oh, fucking Yannick Gers, deadly serious about it and stuff. They need to fire him now. But Steve sat with like a bunch of, he had like Maiden albums. I can't remember if he had them in front of him or like on Wikipedia or something, and he was like, name me your 3 favourite songs off this album. And I'd be like, well, it's, For Talk's Sake, Ghost of Navigator, The Silent Planet and stuff. And he's like, they're all Yannick songs, he wrote all those. And I'm just like, I might say that, but he didn't.
It's almost like you didn't want to admit it or whatever, yeah.
So apparently he can write a good song, but I dislike his antics on stage.
But
I really don't think Maiden need 3 guitarists. In fact, I would go as far as to say that I don't think any band on this planet needs 3 guitarists.
Well, if there's one band that we'll say can get away with it, it's them.
Yeah.
But it did mean that it inspired so many bands to have 3 guitar players in their midst. And
But look, sometimes his lines are the same as he's doing the same exact line as same exact riff and lick as Adrian Smith. Like it is like that a bit. Like they could have used that, and then one is doing the rhythm, which happens a lot. But there's a lot of the time.
Because now that I suppose we're almost like naturally getting into this topic, Yannick, Adrian, and Dave. So like 3 completely different guitar styles, especially when it comes to solo.
Yeah.
But they just complement each other so well, and kind of like what you're talking about. 'Cause 3 guitars, more options. One of my favorite things about Maiden songs, and like just there was one we were talking about earlier, When the Wild Wind Blows.
Yeah.
So do you know when you listen to a Maiden song and the solos are going up, and you know that there's going to be more than one solo coming in, but it's this thing that they do where there's a rhythm guitar part getting underneath it, solos happening. Then when they change solos to someone else, the actual rhythm section changes completely at the same time, and it just that transition just works so well.
Yeah.
But if he's had to pick, and I'm guessing Yannick's not even in the running for this,
Dave
Murray or Adrian Smith.
I always was my favorite, Dave Murray.
Yeah.
But I love Adrian. But Dave.
Well, that's the thing. It's arbitrary picking.
I don't know why, but this was always I always loved these like solos.
It's like asking someone who's your favourite Chuckle Brother.
No, yeah.
It's like you can't have one without the other.
I know.
True, but again,
It's
because
hard
they're
to pick.
different, they're distinctive, you know.
It's see Maiden for me at the minute. Like Yannick could go. And if at this
So
stage,
you probably think Bruce Dickinson is a better guitar player for Maiden than Yannick, like Revelations and stuff.
I would rather see my cat on stage with Iron
Oh,
Maiden.
here, so would I probably at this point, to be fair, because that would be special.
but at this stage, like the lineup has been so solidified over the last lot of years. And I think it's been constant since Brave New World. Is that right?
Yeah.
It has to be that or nothing. Like if one of them drops
It's just weird.
out,
Yeah, it doesn't.
or
That's it.
or for whatever reason one of them can no longer play in the band, that has got to be it. Like
Yeah.
you'll have to call it a day.
That's it. Yeah.
Do not pull someone in. Do not try to do something. You know, when Black Sabbath went on tour with some young
Tommy
25-year-old drummer, it feels.
I mean,
I get it. Like, you know, if for talk's sake, Malevolence lost one of their members, you know, kids are all, I say kids, they're all under 30. You know what I mean? They're at the start of their career. By all means, fill someone in. But Iron Maiden at this stage, replacing a member? Absolutely not.
I don't think they would do it either.
I do agree, but just as an example of it working well, in my opinion. So I've seen Queen twice with Adam Lambert. But I think one of the times I've seen them, there was that kind of second drummer, just because drums with the stamina and the endurance and the toll it takes on your body. I get it.
I think people, out of necessity, treat Queen post Freddie Mercury as a separate entity.
Yeah, and I
That ain't the
think
same
that's
band.
the way it should be, because the first time I saw them, it was Marty Park in Dublin, which is like one of my favourite venues. It's actually the venue of my first ever gig that I ever went to, but it's not that I was skeptical, but I was just going in very much aware that I'm not getting to see Freddie Mercury. I'm not seeing Queen in their prime. But what I did like about Adam Lambert was he wrote this line really well of paying homage to Freddy and just doing his own thing completely.
Whenever they started touring, I mean, it was billed as
Queen and Adam Lambert.
Do they still do
I
that?
think it is, and it's the way it should be, do you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
There are certain, like to
Freddie.
me, there's a very fine line between bands who can get away with this and bands who can't.
Yeah.
Like to me, just below that line, a band who got away with it by replacing a member who died was Slayer. I thought Gary Holt done an exceptionally good job of replacing
Jeff Hanneman.
Jeff Hanneman. And also, I think they done it for just the right amount of time.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know what I mean? They knew it was like, you know, it sucks balls. Obviously, it sucks balls that their friend died.
Yeah.
You know, but we can keep this train rolling for a wee bit, and we can pay homage to Jeff and keep his music alive for another few years.
And Gary was the perfect replacement.
That's what I was going to say. The key to that was Gary Holt himself.
Absolutely.
Because he was there in the whole Bay Area scene from the start and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, if they had have just picked random popular YouTube guitars or something like that, it wouldn't have worked, you know. But just on the topic, so first time seeing Slayer was Sonosphere 2011 with the Big Four, which obviously was amazing. But
were you there? Yeah.
Loved it.
if I remember right, so that was the first year, second year with Gary Holt playing, filling in for him because he had the spider bite and then liver failure. I think ultimately it was because of his alcoholism. And
we seen them in Austria the year before in Nova Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying, because this is a weird thing, that by the point that the encore was coming on, you're like Rain and Blood, Angel of Death, whatever, Sight to Heaven, I was in the mosh pit, I was doing like just in chaos mode, we'll say, so I wasn't exactly looking at the stage of the screen, but it was afterwards someone told me that Jeff came out to play the encore.
Oh, right. In
I
2011.
could be
At
wrong.
Sonosphere?
Someone told me. I think, because
Wait,
this
he
is like
died
10
in
years ago.
2013.
Yeah, this was
So-
2011.
Don't remember that.
I think at the time I went and checked like a video or something, there was just like, no way. Technically I seen him even if I didn't clock eyes on it. But that was just that nice, almost like a Passover of, you know, Jeff coming up to kind of, here's the torch, Gary, go until Slayer completely fucking capitulate because they fucked Dave Lombardo over and all the rest happened. But, you know, that's a whole story for another time.
I know. That's a whole other Slayer episode.
Should we call it there, or have you got anything else that you want to talk about?
There's a few wee things I want to slower about,
Go for it.
as usual. Because normally we have to be nice about bands because it's local bands and it's people you have to look in the eye after you talk about them and stuff. So
Oh, wait, so is that the only reason you're not? Just
no, it is honestly like you do have to kind of. I mean, we try to be as honest and open as we can on this podcast.
Yeah.
We've always said that, but we can't come on here and just start giving off about bands, even if we want to. Because the truth is, 2 weeks later, you'll be standing in front of these people in Voodoo and you have to stand by what you said. You know what I mean? But I can completely go no holds barred on Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'll be going for a pint with Bruce Dickinson anytime soon.
Maybe.
I used to think Bruce was one of the most incredible people to walk the planet.
Yeah.
He used to literally confuse me how a single person could do so much shit. Because he was a
historian.
I remember he wrote a movie or made a movie. I remember seeing it. It wasn't very good.
I was going to say whether it was good or not is another thing, but
great.
it's the fact that he did it. I get
He made a movie. He had a book out about Sir something or other.
Yeah.
I remember reading that. I don't think it was particularly
Again,
good.
yeah. I think he was a world champion fencer at some
He
stage
was a
as well.
fencer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won
Pilot.
awards for
That's the
fences.
pilot's the big thing.
He was a pilot,
He
which
is,
it used to baffle me. Like, man, why are you going to work when you're an Iron Maiden? Are you mad? And then, of course, Iron Maiden as well. And then, aside from that, I think there was a wee bit of overlap between. He didn't wait till he left Maiden to do the solo stuff. I think stuff like Tattooed Millionaire.
Was he kind of working on it?
I think he'd done Tattooed Millionaire while he was in Maiden, and
I
the
think
first few solo albums
Yeah.
were still while he was with Maiden.
93 or something. Yeah.
I think it wasn't until that one you were talking about. Was it Balls to Picasso? Was that the name of the album?
Probably
Yeah.
that was the first one, was it? Yeah.
No, I think it was the first one he done
Ah.
outside after he had left Maiden.
Did he have 3 solo albums?
Yeah.
Because it was like
There's
an
more than that.
accident of birth or something like that.
Yeah.
There's at
Balls to
least
Picasso.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
At least.
And then there's
So like the entirety of the
Tattooed
90s
Millionaire.
essentially.
So it used to just baffle me how one man could be number one, so talented, number two, find the time to do all this stuff, and I used to think it was incredible. Watched interviews with him, and he just seemed like the nicest guy. Very very positive, loved life. All his wee speeches at gigs and stuff about we're all just here and we're all mates and stuff. He kind of. It was never a political message, but it was similar to political messages without the politics, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It was just be fucking sound to each other, especially when he came to Belfast. They'd be like, here you should all be just
knock it on the head.
Just be nice to each other when you're an accent.
Well, here, keep in mind, there was that one year they didn't play the Trooper because of the flag.
I think that was.
They never bring the flag in.
I don't.
No, because they compromised. That was the Final Frontier tour, I think. They didn't play it at all because they didn't want to whip out the flag. But Legacy
when
of
they
the
come to
Beast,
Ireland now, they play the Trooper, but they don't fly the Union flag. They fly
like an Iron Maiden flag or something.
Yeah.
But it's like
that seems to be the compromise.
Maiden fans know that it's not a political thing; it's a historical
Like
British thing.
when I seen them in Dublin, they got booed just for playing the Trooper.
Fuck off! Like, that's
Which
just
was another story.
Yeah, I know, right?
But again, he just used to be this guy that I looked up to and admired and thought, incredible guy, absolutely incredible. And then I remember whenever it came to Brexit, he just started spewing a lot of stuff that I had no respect for. Now, I get there's a lot of people on both sides of the Brexit argument, and I don't really want to go into that.
Yeah.
But I've heard people express opinions that are different to my own.
Yeah.
I'm going, oh, okay, that's an interesting way to think about it. I understand what you're trying to say there. I kind of get where you're coming from. Not with Bruce. I lost a lot of respect for him whenever he talked about that stuff. And then more recently, there's been a lot of just old curmudgeonly old man who just gets angry at very very slight things.
If someone wants to smoke a joint at a gig, let them smoke the joint. He went on a wee rant on stage one time because someone lit a those like a flare. Someone lit a flare in the crowd. Now I think it was somewhere like Argentina or Mexico or somewhere
where that's going to happen.
They fucking open up pits and start fires in the middle of the pits and stuff and set off flares. That is arguably part of their culture and how they do things at gigs, and it wouldn't pass our health and safety rules. But if you go to those parts of the world, you have to accept that those people do those things.
It's football.
So again, I was kind of like starting to lose another wee bit of respect. And then, while on stage, he picked out someone who was smoking
weed,
a joint in the crowd, and it wasn't even like man, that's bad crack or whatever. Even if it was just that, he started saying about how, you know, that affects Steve Harris's lungs. And it's like, mate, there is no way on this planet that someone smoking a joint in the crowd,
yeah, because how many feet away
is going to have an impact on someone on one of these massive stages with a big gap between the bar and the stage. And it's just this, you know, these guys like, that you used to look up to and think were heroes, and then the cracks start to form and you just start to think, you're not that cool a guy, really, are you?
But, right. Ultimately, he's only human. Because I shared the similar sentiment when I was growing up, big Maiden fan, and then it was almost like Bruce had his own special category of like admiration or whatever you want to call it, because of all these feats, all these kind of like, you know, I'm not going to be flat at playing anytime soon, but the fact that he's doing all these different things and like again, different levels of success, we'll call it, within them, is inspiring on some level. And I mean, I suppose I have my hands in different pots and different things. I'm not great at some things, but it's just that idea to just keep going, keep, you know, just sucking whatever you can out of life and that kind of thing. But at the same time, I do agree that, you know, like the thing with the Brexit thing, because you have to keep in mind with all these different things that he's doing, he's also a business owner of like aviation companies, Robinson's Brewery, you know, collaborate. So he's obviously coming from Brexit with the whole that angle of things, and I'm not going to get too political or nothing, but the whole thing with Brexit was misinformation, propaganda, all these kind of things. He obviously bought right into it because he, like the owner of Spoons, like Weatherspoons and stuff, was a vocal advocate of it, we'll say, within the business community. You know, Bruce Dickinson as an individual. I think I saw him post something or say something or whatever recently, slabbering about Brexit. I'm just like, you look like you have no self-awareness right now because you were a vocal advocate for this very thing. And now you're... So I get it, but I think for me it's like, I try not to let one negate the other, if that makes sense. Like
I wish I could do that.
I can admire these things and I can give them the finger for those other things, to put it one way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, ultimately, hopefully, I'm not going to have those things in my head next week when we go and see them. That's my kind of bottom line.
And the other wee thing that kind of is like a bit of a thorn in my side with Maiden these days is, I know this is the same for a lot of big bands at that level, kind of feels like a business first and a band second. And we couldn't have timed this podcast better because I think it was just today that they announced the Iron Maiden Monopoly board. You know,
I haven't seen that one yet.
I know we're hypocrites.
Yeah.
It just feels like we've got our own beer, we've got our own video game, we've got our own Monopoly. I mean, we're going to charge £45 a t-shirt at gigs and stuff, and I know that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, I know, because
we've dipped in and out of.
The hoodies are £60 this time, not £80. So that's right. So this might sound strange, and I suppose I'm very much simplifying it, but on some level, I'm ethically opposed to advertising as a concept, or especially the way that, you know, advertising agencies have tied psychology in with it so that they can just manipulate, you know, so that's a whole other thing. But at the same time, it's inevitable for a band that gets to that level worldwide that they do need to have their artistic, individual creative side and their just business side, and they need to hire
just like
things.
Metallica, but you know, like it's the same.
There's a level of piss taken with it, 100%, because I think they do just get to a level, and whether it's the money or whether it's the fame or something, that there's a slight disconnect with the ground of reality, and they just know if their whole business team's coming up to them saying, all you have to do is click yes, we're going to have the latest Monopoly board in, and this is the revenue that you're going to have, this much is going to go to keeping the train rolling for the band, this much is going to pay for your villa and whatever, you know. And again, it is a whole it comes down to the
network that we are not aware of.
Yeah, and
it is true. Like it's like
there's a detachment from reality, or whatever roots or whatever way you want to call it. It's inevitable, and again, I'm not cutting them slack because there's big bands that are still grounded, or still kind of, you know, themselves or whatever. But again, and this is the ironic part or the hypocritical part for me. there's a level of that still funds the whole band and the tours and albums and getting to see them. So I have to kind of take one with the other.
See, I wouldn't
but
agree
again,
with
there's
that.
piss taken.
I wouldn't agree with that for a minute. I don't think. I think you're almost saying like it's a necessary evil.
No,
I don't think it is. I think it's a second stream of
it's not a
revenue so that they can have
necessary,
2 yachts and 2
I don't
mansions
think it's a
instead of-
necessary evil. I think it's a realistic or humanistic one that ultimately those things are just going to push people in a certain direction, you know.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying I'm for it, but it's
after
like
that many years, they are just a staple, and you know, like the whole Eddie could have a separate entity, you know.
Well, because
Never mind just the band.
the
you
other
know.
side of it is
Right, it's,
like you'll not catch me dead buying a Metallica Iron Maiden set or an Iron Maiden or Megadeth set or whatever, partly because it's way overpriced just for the licensing and stuff. But there's fans that want it. If they want to
Without
buy
a
it,
doubt,
you
without
know,
a doubt.
if they want to
Yeah.
buy it, they can be the ones to fund that aspect of it.
yeah.
I'm not, you know, so there's...
I always, like, regarding all these things you were saying, like, I always try to keep myself just on the music.
Oh,
I always
Sure.
just
that's
try
the
to
fucking
focus,
important thing, you know.
and I try to ignore
Uh-huh.
all those facts. But I was always like that. I just try to focus
Well, yeah.
on the music, on anything.
There we go. Instead of a mosh pit next week, because you're saying, can you mosh? We'll just have this big Iron Maiden Monopoly game in the middle of
Oh,
the
jeez.
song.
We said Sinjitzu the 5 times the writing
Yeah.
on the wall.
And we can use Iron Maiden Funko Pops as our little characters.
I'm guilty. I have an Iron Maiden Funko Pop
I
Killers
see.
one, but it was a gift from
I
my
have
mum
this
for
one.
Christmas. So do you know what I mean?
I have this one.
Yeah,
This
you know.
episode. But yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to talk about regarding Maiden? Or well, actually, put it this way, because this will be interesting. You two in particular asking, where are the specific kind of excitement levels at for this gig in particular?
For this gig in particular, honestly, about 6 out of 10. I don't know if I'm honest.
That's fair.
I'll explain why. Number one, the Sinjitzu sets or tracks kind of means there are going to be lulls within the set for me. Number two, because of work commitments, I have to drive down and back up, so there's no beers for me.
Oh yeah,
There's no partying before, partying after.
That's
it's
a
going
big
to be a very
thing.
sensible one. There was definitely a third one. Yannick Gers is going to be there.
That guy.
that one guy.
And then again, as I said, I've seen Iron Maiden 14 times and absolutely loved them 13 times. So the fact that the last time I seen them, I didn't particularly dig them, has me on the back foot a wee bit.
Maybe that was just
No, I can
because it
relate to
was
that as well.
outside. It was Belsonic.
Yeah. So we'll see. I do think I'll have a good time. I think I'll get some good tunes on in the car on the way down, get myself in a good mood and just try and relax. Oh, and the other thing that kind of has me sort of, it doesn't have me unexcited, but if they had a better support band, I'd be more excited.
Yeah.
You know,
I do agree with that.
I think they've picked another shit band for support.
I mean, I'm agreeing there, and I haven't even listened to them. But it's just, I'm almost calling it a curse at this point. I'll Maiden support bands. Just,
See, honestly, I think you might like them if you go in with no preconceptions whatsoever. I actually regret listening to them because I kind of know who they are, and that Eurovision things kind of put me on the back foot as well.
yeah, it's almost become like a meme.
There are actually some good stompy riffs within it. I think if you just watch it live and just judge it in the performance, you might actually enjoy it. You
Okay.
might.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting completely deaf
but
and blind, so
I
Yeah,
just
one of the
think
same.
yeah.
like the time they pulled Kill Switch and Engage on with them in tour was like such a
Yeah.
a
That was the
I,
Odyssey one.
Mhm.
I know they're never gonna bring someone like Knock Loose or Turnstile or whatever, you know, that's never gonna happen. But even, I don't know, a thrashy band, Havoc, you know, someone like Havoc might work.
Even for the likes of South America and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know
Even
what-
Airborne was cool. And
I
it was not
missed
the
them,
first
yeah.
time they were.
I'm burnt out in Airborne. I've seen them too many times, and it's the
Yeah.
same show every time.
Did you see
Yeah.
them in the Limelight when they came here a few years ago?
That was the turning point for me where I
Yeah.
went. I feel like I'm watching a DVD I've seen 17 times.
Are you talking about like the down in the wine, climbing the thing, and I've only
Cracking
seen them
the
the
beer in the
once.
head,
yeah,
like,
I've only
I'm
seen
not
them the
joking, I've
once.
seen this
So
in
I
the-
was
times.
Limelight one for. I was actually one of fucking.
They've been doing
Really
some
good
shit
gigs for me.
since about
Yeah.
2007. They need new shtick, like
Yeah.
they really do.
But
Fair.
it's that style, and it's never gonna get there any difference.
Well, I mean, you know, they're inspired by AC/DC the most.
Motorhead, yeah.
But a lot of people say AC/DC is almost like a
It's like
stock
AC/DC
record
on
kind
speed.
of thing. Yeah.
You know,
But so where's your excitement levels Friday for the gig next
yeah,
week?
yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to because mainly because of Somewhere in Time, like those songs. You know, like it's my favorite album. So that and yeah, just how the whole set's gonna flow and it's just great. And then I do look forward for the ones that they didn't play on Sinjitzu, but just because I do enjoy that album, like
Yeah.
But Somewhere in Time, that's where it's at.
I mean, that's the thing, because, like, you know, obviously, I'm going to love every second of it. Because, I mean, I got a lot of gigs. I think this is going to be the biggest gig of the year for me.
Yeah.
You know, whether it'll be the best is another thing, but, you know, like, that kind of difference.
Yeah.
But it is that kind of thing. Like, I'm hoping, not that some people give Sinjitzu songs a chance, but that they'll just naturally kind of grow on them after hearing them live. You know, that's the hope.
Yeah,
and if they don't, they're getting Somewhere in Time songs, so it almost doesn't matter by that regard, because Jesus Christ, the Somewhere in Time songs, like, you know,
I know.
it's I can't wait. We'll see what state I'll be in after it's over.
Are you getting a lift as well with my mates?
There was an after party announced in Fibbers,
Nice,
so we'll see how it goes.
We don't know what's happening after
exactly.
that, so.
We'll see how much of the Hallion comes out as well. Do you know, by the time
Yeah.
it's over. But I think from the sounds of things, that's the end of the show. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll let Wayne do the whole like and subscribe stuff, because it's not really my shtick.
You've pretty much just done it.
I said the words, that counts.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. This
Cheers.
was a TWKOM Podcast special on Iron Maiden. If you're going to be at the show, say hi, have a blast, whatever. Take care.
Yep. And cheers for coming up and cheers for hosting.
Thanks for
it was
different.
fun
It was fun.
having the pressure taken off me.
Put on myself.
And Freddy, cheers for coming up. Check
Thank
out
you.
Nomadus on Facebook and Spotify and all that bollocks.
Especially live as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
that's
I'll
where
just
it's at.
finish by saying, no, I canted it. I did. I totally canted it.
What?
Like and subscribe.
I know it.
As always, keep listening to the wrong kind of music.